I'd like to call to order the City of Apopka Commission meeting for August 5th, 2026, and I'd like to recognize Vice Mayor Velasquez for the invocation.
Okay, thank you. Pastor George. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to the meeting today. I'd like to introduce our local pastor, Pastor George Sotolongo. He's been a personal friend of mine for almost 10 years. And if you all can remember Mosquito Creek, that's where the church has been, Remnant Christian Church. And he has been an actual contributor and a supportive of our community. And even yesterday, he had a big backpack event for our community. So welcome, Pastor George Sotolongo.
Please, everyone stand.
Thank you so much, Mayor Nick, Nesta, Vice Mayor Diane Velasquez, and all of the city commissioners for all you do for Apopka and our leadership, and for welcoming the power of prayer. So let's bow our heads. Father, we just thank you for the wisdom of God today. Lord, in this meeting, we call upon your wisdom. Lord, when you appeared to King Solomon, you asked him whatever he wanted to ask, and he asked you for wisdom to be able to lead your people well. So we ask for your wisdom in this meeting today. Lord, I pray, Lord God, for all who are involved in this meeting, that they would lead with integrity, with unity, Lord God, with purpose and with unity. I pray that every decision will be anchored by your will for the city of Apopka. Lord, I pray blessings over all the leaders in this room. And I pray lastly, the blessing that Moses gave, Lord God, for the people of God in the book of Numbers. And he said, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you. May the Lord raise his countenance upon you, give you peace and give you strength. I pray that for every person here, every leader here, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor.
Please remain standing. We're going to do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to a republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Play.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. That was special. We'll now open up public comment period. Mrs. Bone.
Hi, Dr. Jim Moyer.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Jim Moyer. I'm the elected Orange Soil and Water Conservation District 2 Supervisor serving Apopka in Northwest Orange County. This presentation is mine and mine alone, as always. The purpose, again, which I try to say every time, of Orange Soil and Water Conservation District, the purpose of the district is to work in conjunction with other governmental entities in implementing land and water resource protection practices by assisting, guiding, and educating the public. The city of Apopka generously has allowed me to have office hours here the third Thursday of the month from 11 to 1. Please join me. As a Florida Special Purpose District, we have limited amount of authority over things like global warming. There are many things beyond our control. For example, CO2 emissions from fossil fuels, and it's by far beyond what's mandated by the Florida Soil and Water Conservation Districts. Bill Gates, who I'm around the same age. I grew up with him. I have a lot of respect for Bill Gates. I personally believe planting trees is important, But Bill Gates says, I don't use some of the less proven approaches. I don't plant trees. Gates does mention that he puts his money in direct air capture, heat pumps, and installing solar panels. This is a summary of some of the next few slides. There's many impacts on soil and water, which we'll get to real quickly, but I don't have a lot of time here. So, lack of regulations and enforcement led to over-fertilization, unregulated business, uncontrolled development. Other animals and plant, feral hogs, invasive plants, other human activities, overgrazing, over-agriculture, deforestation, contributes to global warming, reduces the aquifer replenishment, disrupt water cycle, leading to droughts, what I call bipolar weather conditions, and erode soil. Again, the UN report earlier this year mentioned the 4 conditions here. Please change habits, conserve water use, clean water bodies. Thank you for your time, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Dr. Moyer.
Okay, Nikki McGuire.
Great afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and everyone in the rightful place. I am super excited to do this presentation because on last Saturday, I got to watch every child smile as I say seasonal goodbyes to them for them to go back to school. I know I only have 3 minutes, so what I would recommend is that this presentation, please go to YouTube and then you can hit pause on each slide and enjoy each slide as you go. But on behalf of Naomi Kids, I want to thank everyone for their support. It doesn't matter. There is value in as much as giving $1 as much as even if you gave 1,000. We appreciate it all. I want to share with you guys this summer our mission statement is protecting the minds of today's youth to become tomorrow's leader with an academic focus with our mentoring program. And this summer we were proud to watch a 4-year-old who came into our program, just turned 4 and left in 2 months, 9 weeks, reading at a first grade level. We do not take it lightly, and what we do with the kids is not overwhelming them, it's not forcing them, but having fun with them and showing them that learning can be fun. Oops, sorry, wrong button. All right, our team making a difference. So we can only do it through partnership. So with Caresos, we had 4 interns this summer. We had 5 core staff members and 9 volunteers earned community service. Most of them were from the Apopka High School Beta Club. 2 of the volunteers through partnership again, and I'm gonna keep saying because partnership is a big deal to us. We were able to get one a full-time job with Domino's Pizza, and another one got a full-time job with Home Depot. So we're proud of our partners and our partnership. Our back to school shopping experience. Thank you again, Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor has not, Naomi Kids is going on 13 years. Vice Mayor has not missed one of our events. And so I appreciate Vice Mayor for showing up on Saturday to watch the kids smile while they do their shopping. We are going to be, Nelson is also in the picture. That's the owner of Domino's. He has pushed after the event for us to expand the program to the shopping program to make it much bigger. We, as Naomi Kids, we're going away from the backpacks because everybody's doing that. We're doing the school shopping. Now it takes a village. So thank you to all our sponsors. And remember, you can go on our website, and assist us with donations. Every dollar counts. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
McGuire.
you.
Rod Olson.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for your service. Before I begin today, I want to correct something that from the last meeting. I questioned that the last 3 Planning Commission appointees without having all the facts. That was inappropriate, and I apologize. Thank you to Planning Commissioner Dumey for calling this to my attention. In an email shared with all on the dais, but directed at Commissioner Anderson, it wound up becoming an op-ed. Commissioner Anderson, please accept my apology. I want to thank you, Dr. Thomas and Mr. Bell, for calling this to my attention. And Mr. Bell, it's an honor to serve with you on the mayor's transition team. You bring a lot to the table. As you can see, Apopka continues to have the lowest millage rates in our region. Apopka 4.15, Winter Garden 4.49, Ocoee 5.21, Mount Dora 6.25, Sanford 7.25. These communities the last 11 years have averaged 1.65 more mills than we do. These are the communities that us in Apopka go to dine, shop, attend events, and enjoy vibrant downtowns. Like Apopka, they face growth and infrastructure challenges. They just have invested more in what needs to be done. Kind of what you get, what you pay for. And we have met the enemy, and the enemy is us. Apopka is the first city my family chose to live in. Every other move I had was for college or for work. We chose Apopka. That's why it's near and dear to me and why I care. Apopka's approach has typically been reactive, postponing difficult decisions until they become major emergencies. During the time, one thing after another, while expecting different results. If you do keep doing it over, we're going to have the same results. That's what we're doing. We're stuck in that. We need an independent forensic audit, not to point fingers, but to understand what happened, strengthen internal controls, and make sure we do not repeat the same mistakes. For the second time in 3 years, the city has changed financial software in the middle of a budget year and in the middle of budgeting. You can't put together a good budget without good numbers. And when people are worried about reloading the new system, it's ludicrous. Since October 24, the city has averaged 2,400 hours of overtime a week. And while we have 50 plus vacancies, we need to focus. That's $50,000 to $75,000 a week down the toilet. This is a financial employee burnout issue. Many of the challenges facing Apopka developed over many years. It's not going to be fixed with one budget process along the way. The roadmap is straightforward. Build realistic budgets, improve financial accountability, prioritize and fill critical vacancies before adding additional layers of management. Review overtime every week, conduct monthly department financial reviews, invest proactivity instead of reactive crisis. Beginning today, you have the opportunity to establish a new standard of budgeting, planning, accountability, and transparency. Please seize this opportunity. As Mother Teresa said, let no one ever come to you without leaving better or happier. It's my hope that we can all work together and bring this forward and make Apopka what we can, the best possible city to live in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. If we can, moving forward, just make sure we stick to the time as much as possible. I appreciate it.
Supervisor Dr. O.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The first thing I'd like to do is again thank the city for sponsoring the Orange Soil and Water Conservation District for a meeting and kind presentation of the Chamber Hall, August 14th, 3 p.m. The board will be meeting here and it will be streaming or recorded. streaming, and that's wonderful. Normally we're on air with Orange TV, but we don't get on YouTube, so that's wonderful. And we certainly do appreciate the relationship, and the relationship goes back 80 years because some of the most powerful board members back in the day were from Apopka because of the agriculture here. I did want to say that we've confirmed that plastic to-go cups, which are normally thrown in the trash, can now be recycled. And I just reconfirmed it with Josh and verified it because I had sent that memo that Orange County was doing it. And he looked into it, and sure enough, plastic to-go cups, which some people amass a lot of them, go in recycling. And then vape pens without the cartridge in it. Vape pens can be dealt with straight with TerraCycle. Either organizations or businesses or groups or individuals can make arrangements with TerraCycle to gather them and dispose of them. And it would be nice if maybe we had a regulation where vape selling companies, smoke shops, would gather the leftover cartridges and send them into TerraCycle. What they do is they make like things like nuts and bolts out of them. And then I do have some books here available to help support the district. And I even have some of the Perrine Slim books with me of Northwest Orange County, which is a lot about Apopka. And it goes clear back to the Native American days to the beginning. So again, thank you. And I think that once the budget gets worked on, that we're going to see a big improvement in it. And especially if the line items get marked that are essentials, because people are saying, we don't know what those lines mean. And so we need to see the assets, and we need to see the expenses, and then what is essential in the expenses, the non-essential and essential in the expenses. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Olmsted.
Sylvester Hall.
Sylvester Hall, Rock Springs Ridge. As I look around and we start every meeting, we started off with a prayer. I just asked myself, when are we going to take God at his word? With so much hate and so much that's going on in the world today, and we always pray and we always give the pledge. Those things are just becoming just routine words to speak. And so when you keep hearing me coming up here and saying, since I've been doing this for about 2 years, you have to go and check the cameras because it won't show up in the minutes. In the city of Apopka, in the state of Florida, and in our country, we're in a national crisis because too many good people are standing by saying nothing, doing absolutely nothing. And when I say good people that can make a difference, but they remain silent. When we normalize the abnormal, we desensitize the truth to the point the truth doesn't matter. And look at where we're at now. When we know the truth, it still don't touch our heart. It still don't move us to make a difference. We just sit there and, oh, it is what it is. And so when the disaster come knocking at your door, then we will see. When I say things like the truth matters, integrity matters, honesty matters, accountability matters, responsibility matters, character matters, leadership matters, wisdom matters, justice matters, laws matter, rules matter, morals matter, ethics matter, facts matter, and all God's people matter. Mayor, I responded to a social media post. Saying, do you think the mayor's running this, moving the city in the right direction? And I said no. And the reason I gave was lack of decision making, priorities, and lack of wisdom. And those, by me being I would say a supporter of yours, I'm strong enough and man enough to tell you when you're wrong. And so when you surround yourself with people who don't give you good advice or don't tell you when you're wrong, that's a wrong road to go down. And so I know you've been here for 6 years. If it was a new mayor just coming in and not familiar with Apopka, then I can see. But you've been here for the 6 years I've been coming to these meetings. You've been here. Everything that Mr. Olson and the other ones had said before I got here, you already know that. So your refusal to do that question how you're leading the city of Apopka. When I look at things like the city administrator, other than the police chief and the fire department, that was, for me, that was priority one. And we still haven't addressed that. Those things cause me to have concern. The people that you surround yourself with, those things have me concerned. And Commissioner Anderson, Mom used to say, "You make your bed, you lie in it." But I'm gonna say this for you. Out of all the things I see posted on social media, I don't see anything posted about our president Donald Trump from that social media that makes you look like an angel. So that you keep that in perspective. And I hope as you move forward, you find your way to the right path. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback, Mr. Hall. I just said thank you for your feedback. Sorry.
Leroy Bell.
Leroy Bell, Apopka. Rod Olson, I appreciate you saying that you appreciate serving me with me on the transition team. And I like to say I appreciated the opportunity, but now I need to back away from that. And I do thank for the opportunity. One thing I'm not going to be disrespected, and I'm not going to be bullied. I just did an interview with 13, and the gentleman that Jim, he was the one that flipped me off in the meet. Rod can attest to it, and I pushed back, and I told you about it. But yet and still, I'm the one getting the brunt of this crap from social media, only because I said that I didn't think the mayor was doing what he said he ran on, and for that, I said we needed an audit. We never heard anything about an audit. If we find out what an audit, we audit and find out where we at, we can see much better. Even then, I didn't agree with all of these heavy position that with all these salaries. When you just heard Rod Olson said that we got all these positions with all this overtime not filled. If we will fill these positions with all these high salaries, especially when it's earmarked that we already sent one person from the transition team over to the county, and now it's earmarked that these positions is going to some of the people on the transition team. I'm not for that. As the guy Jim said, he been on Apopka 35 years. I've been here ever since 1968. And if I do the math right, I think that's somewhere around 58 to 57 years. The preacher just left here and he started with wisdom. That's what Solomon asked for. But what Solomon also asked for discernment. And that's an adjective for having and showing good judgment, keen eyesight, and the ability to notice subtle changes and subtle details. And my thing is this. I don't think in my heart, in the 58 years that I'm here, I voted for you and I supported you. I was in Walmart the other day. Guy walked up, "Hey man, what's wrong with your mayor?" I said, "Yeah, that's my mayor." He was talking about the 10%, 6%. I said, "No, he didn't vote for that." But here's the thing. I don't think that taking advice and the people that support you and you turning your back on for a disgraced candidate from Pueblo, Colorado.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. I hear you, sir. I hear you.
Valerie Sparkman.
I get nervous every time I get up here. Um, I have something to read. I hope I can read it within 3 minutes, but I want to start off with this beginning of a scripture, and it says, "No weapon that is fashioned against you shall succeed." Um, I'm Valerie Sparkman, the owner of Just Like Mama's Soul Food and Wings, LLC. In 2024, a city code enforcement officer stopped work at my restaurant and required me to obtain a permit for cosmetic work. I'm going to stop for a minute because I remember when I said this in 2024, Nick Nesta, which was Commissioner Nesta at that time, actually got the ball rolling. So I don't even know if you remember that or not, but because I didn't even know that the stop work order was invalid. At the time, code enforcement officers were prohibited from performing building related enforcements of this nature. The officer did not have the authority to issue a stop work order, and the permit required was never needed. This was not an experienced employee who simply misunderstood his role. He had worked for the city for more than 20 years, and during his entire career, he had never issued an order like this until he issued one against my business. This um, is not merely an allegation. The city's own administrator, investigation, internal affairs for the city of Apopka confirmed that the non-stop work order was never issued and that no permit was ever required. And he was acting out of the scope of his authority. His actions delayed the opening of my restaurant, cost my business thousands of dollars in expenses, lost profits, and caused significant emotional reputational harm. Yet, instead of seeing meaningful accountability, I later learned that the same employee was recognized as the Civilian of the Year. There is now a new administration, and I'm asking directly, what is going to be done about this? Why should a small business like mine spend years going through legal channels when the city's own administration, internal affairs, already established what happened right in black and white? Why is there no meaningful acknowledgement of the harm, no visible accountability, no public explanation what has been done to ensure that this cannot happen to another business owner? This is not simply about a disagreement over a permit. A long-time city employee exercised his authority that he did not possess, and he'd been with the city more than 20 years. And this direct action was towards my business. A new administration represents an opportunity to handle this differently. I'm asking the commission and the new administration to not ignore what's happened. Why must I continue to fight through the legal system for the city to address facts that its own investigation has already confirmed? I'm asking that the administration to demonstrate that the city causes document harm to a citizen and her business, which is me. It will do more than place the findings in the report. I'm asking you to act. Thank you. I'm Valerie Sparkman.
Thank you, Ms. Sparkman. I'm going to dig in on this, and then I'll get you a response by the end of the week, and we'll meet by the end of the week if you have time. Thank you.
And also, Mayor, is it possible that, because I know this is an ongoing legal thing, can we talk about it on the dais sometime? I mean, because I have a lot of questions about it, but I was afraid to talk about it because I know it's a pending legal issue. Because I do kind of know some of the facts of it as well.
I need to find out what kind of pending legal issue to give you good advice on that. So I'd say until I have that information, I wouldn't.
Okay. So you're not the attorney. You're not the attorney handling the lawsuit because there's a
Nope.
lawsuit filed. Oh, it's not. Oh, the city hired a separate attorney to handle it. Okay. All right. Well,
Mr. Williams, you're able to speak on that?
okay.
I believe that's through our HR risk attorney's office.
Okay. Okay.
I'll look into that though and get with you, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor.
Good afternoon.
Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Just want to again thank you for Christmas in July that we had at Just Like Mama's the last Sunday of the month last year in July. I It was a very successful event. If you go out to look at the pictures that are on Compassion in Apopka on Facebook, you'll see we had a packed house, and I think I stopped counting at 78. So we had enough food, enough clothing, enough hygiene items. Things really got moving. Some people had never celebrated Christmas in July, and they were very excited about it. And I was very excited about it. Thank you for the um, food donations. Thank you for the clothing donations. Thank you for the extra water, the community supports us so much with things that overflow to where I've had to move from one unit to another because of the overflowing of donations that I received for the organization. So I never want to miss an opportunity to say thank you and just how grateful I am. Our next event will be August the 23rd. It will be at Just Like Mama's, and we will be having the month of August is National Waffle Month. So we are going to have breakfast for dinner, and we're going to have one of the things we're going to have is chicken and waffles. So if you would continue to keep doing what you're doing to support the unhoused and the needy in the area, if you would go out there and look at the Compassion and Apopka and follow me, you will see that I'm picking up family units. Kids are going back to school, and with the cost of things, I'm starting to see whole families coming and needing support. And I'm sending them to places where I know they can get more support, but I am starting to see an influx of that. So continue to do what you're doing. The things that you give me stewardship over do not go in vain. And I always emphasize to the unhoused that the community supports them, and especially our mayor and the commissioners of the city. So I thank you and continue to do the same.
Thank you, Ms. Street.
All right.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody from the public wish to additionally speak that maybe didn't put in a card? All right. Well, I appreciate everyone coming today to speak during public comment. We'll now close public comment, move to the approval of minutes. There's 2 sets of minutes for July 15th and July 27th. Any changes or adjustments that need to be made on those? If not, I will look for a motion to approve the 2 sets of meeting minutes as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Barron, second by Commissioner Ruth. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Williams, any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, we do have one change. The applicant for business item number 5, Floridian Town Center Hotel Major Development Plan, has requested to move the business item to the August 19th commission meeting. Other than that, no other changes.
The major development plan. Okay, for Floridian Town Center. Got it. Thank you. We don't have any proclamations, presentations, or awards today. Moving on to consent items. Are there any items that need to have further discussion, either from the dais or anybody from the public wish to discuss these in any additional detail? If not, I will look for a motion to approve these 7 items on the consent agenda. Moved by Commissioner Ruth.
So moved.
Second by Vice Mayor.
Yes, second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Business item number 1, the City Commission rules in order of business. This one was one that we discussed early on, and I wanted to make sure I'd asked for kind of feedback preliminarily, and everyone just said somewhat of a do it, and we'll edit it as needed from there. So this is I call it a Frankenstein of multiple municipalities of the same ones that Attorney Shepard sent to me, and then we made sure that you guys had as well to review. So we can go in any type of manner to go through this. I do have Mr. Williams ready to take notes of any edits that we're going to make. I'll make some notes as well of any adjustments. So are there any specific questions or adjustments or clarifications on any part of it?
I do, Mayor. On the first section where it says regular special meeting and special meetings, on number 2, where it
Yes.
says notice of a special meeting must be given to each member within 24 hours. I have a bit of a concern. The only reason is because with my job, I have a full time, so it may require some adjustment for me. So I do ask that at least maybe 3 or 4 days in advance would be a little bit more helpful for me, so that way I can coordinate schedules and kind of change things around. But that's one. Again, the same for on the agenda. The 24 hours in terms of special meeting. I guess it's like maybe almost to the bottom. Last 2 sentence, agendas for any special meetings called will be provided with much advanced notice as possible, but at minimum 24 hours prior to special meetings. So that was my
Which one was that? The second one?
on agenda
Yeah.
on page 1.
Right,
It's
I saw that.
last, it's almost like the last 2 sentences,
Right.
agendas for any special,
What would you like that adjusted to?
just at least gives us a few days in advance.
Okay.
Um,
And I'm fine with that. These are kind of more one-offs and
Yeah.
less used, but I absolutely hear
Yeah.
that. So I just want to make sure that we are able to meet that just in case there is
Okay.
something more short-term. Like one that's coming up may be specifically the fire union contract.
Okay.
That may be coming up to where we have to do a special meeting, but to approve it, make sure that we're meeting timelines. I don't want to rush it, but at the same time, I want to make sure we're getting it right. So
Yeah. Okay. No,
happy
that's-
to adjust that however we need to. Just want to make sure that it gives us a little flexibility to make sure it's being pumped out. And
Okay. Yeah, and that was my recommendation. And so my other one would be the manner of addressing commission time limit. So it says address to 3 minutes. I have requested it previously during our commission meetings to move this up to 4 minutes. So I'd like to see
yes,
that.
and this matches the policy that was previously approved. And that's the only reason I did that.
Okay.
What I want to do, or I guess my ask is that previous that we've done in the past is that we've kind of made a request like that. My ask, I guess, moving forward is during your commission reports or anything like that, make an official motion so that everybody just gets on the same page there and it's not, oh, well, I only heard it or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. There's no ambiguity there. That's my only ask there on that. But I'm happy to, and that's the only reason I copied it there is it matches that policy. So we just, if I may ask that you
Make a motion.
if you feel that you would like to make a motion, then
Yeah.
make that motion and we'll absolutely receive
So
that.
do I make that motion now, or do I need to do that during my commission report?
If possible,
or-
do it during commission report.
Okay.
And then 2, we'll make sure that this is adjusted as well.
Okay.
Or we can put it in here to match in the verbiage in here. We can say limit their address to match the policy in place for public comment.
Okay.
So this doesn't have to be readjusted after this. It'll automatically match whatever may be adjusted from there.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll make that motion during my commission report
Okay.
to change the minutes to 4 minutes instead of 3.
Do you want to go over that policy in more depth, or you only want to change that part of the policy?
In the public comment section?
Not of this,
Oh,
but
the public comment section of our policy.
correct.
No, I mean, I've got to review the policy completely just to make sure, but
Okay.
I would like to see at least this part of the policy change to 4 minutes from 3 minutes to 4 minutes.
Okay.
But
Okay, understood. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
I'm on the same page
Yeah.
there. Okay,
Yeah.
understood. So if we can, what we'll do is adjust that to say to match city policy, something along those lines. Okay.
There was one more. I thought I highlighted it. It'll come to me.
No problem.
We can move forward.
All right, we'll come back.
Thank you.
Anybody else have comments, questions, clarifications?
So in the also there is one second. So the agenda language contains two potentially conflicting instructions. So one hand, it says staff will arrange submitted items for approval by mayor, but it later says that any member of the city commission may cause an item to be placed on the agenda by submitting it on time. The key question is kind of what the approval of the mayor means.
So it's effectively that final approval will come through my office. So you can request that it within these timelines, obviously put in there. And the timelines were created. It's similar to what I've already instituted and updated since I became mayor of getting the agenda out at least a week early. That's been a big one to make sure that the residents and the commission have as much information as long as possible. And then with that 9-day period as well, I know it's a random one, but the Monday before the agenda comes out, I make sure that's the deadline that everything's put in. So that's why that timeline is there. But that the final approval will come through my office. So it can be requested to be put on the agenda, and that is what I request to be on 9 days in advance. And then final approval will come through my office, and then the agenda itself will obviously be posted 7 days in advance.
So I think the only issue with that is it kind of give you authority to the mayor, I should say, the authority to withhold a timely commissioner's sponsor item. So there's nothing there's really no framework to say, okay, if both commissioners submit something, you kind of can determine, and I think that's been an issue before in the previous administration, in that certain commissioners would request the mayor add them to the agenda in a timely fashion, and the mayor would never add it to the agenda. So I want to
Sure.
make sure that if someone submits something in a timely fashion, that is added to the agenda and not at the mayor's discretion.
And
Because
there has to be some discretion built in just per the charter itself. So I hear what you're saying. Absolutely. Obviously being on the receiving end of that multiple times. So what I want to make sure here and what this allows is that we don't want an agenda like today where there's 2,800 pages. And no offense to our developers, but it's because of our developers. So what I don't want to do is have, if multiple agenda items from the commissioners are coming up, I want to be able to space it out properly, that we can place them where they need to, or if they need a little more discussion of which direction one thing is going versus another, it allows that time as well, because we want to make sure that that's why we do those workshops, and we're going to be starting that again this following meeting, is to make sure that everyone's on the same page there at the same time, so that it's not just one specialty item that that needs more discussion to be fleshed out and really have more staff input to really refine it to what it should be or could be as an action item then.
so I want to see some language saying that within 2 commissioner meetings that the item will be placed in the agenda, because once again, it still does not give the commissioner, the commission, a role or the authority to say we want this on the agenda, because it's at your discretion. So it could be kicked down the road for 2 years.
Well, that's correct. And I don't, at the same time, that kind of is the office and what the charter has dictated.
Well,
So I hear you, and that's something that it can absolutely be a motioned item and things of that nature. But just because it's requested, it doesn't mean it absolutely has to get on there.
Well, that's I think that's an issue, because I think if we're going to develop a rules and order of decorum, that the commissioner has a right to have something on the agenda, and there needs to be a time frame, because you were on the other receiving end of that, where you had other commissioners that asked the previous mayor, or whatever mayor, to put something on the agenda, and according to you, in your own words, it was never added to the agenda. So it needs to be something in here, which I don't know why this is a debate, but it need to be something in here where it says within 2 meetings, at least, there will be an effort to be put on there. Because if not, it's kind of still left up to the, in the air. And it could be something that's timely, something that's important, that the commissioner wants to be heard and as an item on the agenda. So I think every commissioner should have a right to have something placed in a timely manner on the agenda.
And I don't disagree with you on that. It's what we can't get into is that I see the agenda 2 to 3 meetings from now still. So I'm already planning that out. So if stuff is being added late, it creates difficulty to plan properly. So I'm okay to add definitely a timeline or a provision in there that allows and creates that vehicle to get on the agenda in the proper time. The concern is just that my office sees again, 3 to 4 meetings from now, 2 to 3 meetings from now of what that looks like. So I don't want to box us into where I've got to be moving to where we're at now today, 2,800 pages, because we pushed some of the things around, which was fine, but it caused a 2,800 page agenda. And so that's where there's got to be some flexibility to be able to move items around as the time's needed. So I'm okay. I'm absolutely okay to put something in there that, like you had said, to best efforts to get it in within 2 to 3 meetings. I'm absolutely okay with that. It's just there needs to be some flexibility that may not happen due to if we're dealing with budgets or anything that may be going on at that time, or a lot of developments going on. It pushes things out. So I'm absolutely okay with that to add some language in there to the to best efforts be put on the agenda within 3 meetings, something along those lines.
Okay, thank you for that.
Where would you? Did you have a specific?
Two, at least
Just
two.
anywhere in there.
Could they give a month? So 2, at least a month. Within a month. So within 2
I like.
meetings.
Let's do it within a month. I like
okay.
that. Okay.
Okay. In addition to that, the minority commissioners cannot call a special meeting. So a special meeting may be called by the mayor, the vice mayor, when the mayor is absent, or a majority of the commission. So what that means is that the minority commissioner cannot call a special meeting. And I think every commissioner should be able to call a special meeting.
I don't think, I think I was following the charter on that one.
I don't see, we're in the charter. I looked at the charter. I didn't see that in the charter.
It's the provisions within
I didn't
that
see
the
that.
charter was there. And so the problem with, again, a lot of this was based on the charter itself. So it's the powers that are prescribed there. So we can't take away powers there, but
which item on the I'm sorry, attorney, which part of the charter that states that?
I'm looking at it.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
City Commission, this is 2.8 of the charter. In basic, excuse me. The City Commission shall meet regularly at such times and places as City Commission may prescribe by rule. Special meetings may be held at the call of the mayor or the mayor in mayor's absence, at the call of the vice mayor, or at the request of a majority of the City Commission, and whenever practicable, the City Commission shall provide for not less than 12 hours notice to the public. That's 2.08A.
So that's where I'm copying that from.
Okay. So that's something that would have to be changed because that's a. So and I'm just trying to understand this. So the charter already did state. So we have this here. Every language in here was drafted by the charter.
Not at all. No. When you say
So it's
everything
part of the charter
in the rules that you're talking about,
Uh-huh.
no, absolutely not.
Okay. So this language here, if we change this language here, how do we change this language here to be fair to? Because it seems like to me like a lot of this language is the majority in the mayor. So if you have a council that's the majority, then they're kind of controlling the whole entire council. And this kind of like, to me, it's kind of set up this way. It was kind of go through all the language. I may have a whole different things that I'm kind of pointing out of this, but it's actually we'll do that. I mean, the majority commissioner won't have any say so in absolutely anything. It really won't have a voice.
So you can be clear.
Mhm.
The baseline of what is required is what the charter says and must be followed. If you adopt rules that you apply to yourselves, for example, speaker rules, they're not in the charter, but you can have them. And if you adopted a rule, which you could also rescind and you could change just like you're doing now, because you have rules already, you could make a rule that allowed for a special call of a meeting by some other device. For example, I mean, it doesn't say this, but if you wanted to empower the clerk to call a special meeting for whatever reason, you could make that, but you could also change that rule because it's not in the charter. But if someone doesn't qualify under whatever rule you make, but qualifies under the charter, they get to do it regardless of the other rule. Do you follow what I'm saying?
The
charter trumps if there's a conflict, but it's not to stop you from having additional rules. It's to be a baseline of the minimum you can expect.
Okay. And when can we update the charter?
Just did. We literally
Well,
just
how
did.
often- that's just a question. Can we update it again? I mean, it's only a time
Sure,
period.
you can do it as many times as you want, whenever you want. But understand, you can do it on a specific issue like this one, or you can do the complete review, which we did, which took a long time.
Oh, so I will, if I wanted to update that language in the charter, I can just call, how do I do it? Do I make a motion to revisit the charter to update that language?
It should be on an agenda, but
Agenda?
yes,
Okay.
then you would discuss the item. And if you get agreement, then I can, just like I did the other stuff, I draft a question, the language, the so forth. And then if it gets voted to go forward, it goes on the ballot.
Okay.
So it'd have to on an election.
Yeah.
Of some sort. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we just did. Okay. And the second question is, in regards to, I guess, with any rule. Well, you know, I answered that for myself. Okay. I'm not finished. 1 second. Let me go back up.
Do you want me to come back to you?
No.
Okay.
I do not. I just want to make sure that based off what he said that it did, some things don't apply. Okay. So no individual notice or regular scheduled meetings. The rule states that the no notice of a regular meeting must be given to individual commission members. And I think the issue with that is that if it's moved to another day, moved to another hour, canceled by the majority or unilateral, that we, once again, it's just, it's kind of the same thing. And maybe that it was that part in the charter as well. The charter, was that in the charter as well? Do you know which part of this was in the charter? Was all of this drafted? Mayor, do you?
Give some background. So the mayor had asked me, as he mentioned, to gather rules of procedure from various jurisdictions. Some we represent, some we got from other places. So y'all would have some things to look at and consider. And then I think, as he said, he looked through the documents to try to put together what he thought would work for y'all and then come to you for comment. But rules of procedure for a council can be changed, candid, like people change underwear, because they're your rules. So, for example, if you said, we love the idea of Robert's rules, which, by the way, is a terrible idea, you could adopt something that said, we're going to follow Robert's rules right now. You could do that. In the very next meeting, you could change it because it's a rule that you get to create. And so as long as it doesn't conflict with what's in the charter, you're good to go. If you want a charter amendment, then that becomes much more formal, as you already understand, and that requires charter language, an election, and a vote.
Okay. All right. Number 7. So the no express appeal for the presiding officer's ruling. The mayors decide all questions of order, but the rules do not provide an express procedure allowing commissioners to appeal the mayor's ruling to the entire commission.
There is a provision in the, I did read this. There's a provision in the rules that says something about if there's some sort of a conflict, you can choose to follow or look at Robert's rules. I think I remember seeing that in there towards the bottom. So there is a mechanism which you can choose to follow. But the reason why Robert's rules is generally not a good idea is because if you've actually read them, as many people claim to, it's super complicated because it's not just what's a motion, what's a priority motion, what seconds can, what can be reconsidered versus what can be reheard, and so forth and so on. There's a lot more to it, and I would suggest kindly that General Roberts complicated things more than he simplified them.
Okay. So that's part of you read that in the charter, correct?
No, the part I just read was in the
Okay.
rules. At the bottom of the rules that were drafted,
Okay.
you know the provision I'm talking about. Somewhere at the bottom of the rules, it says something about if there's an issue, we can revert to Robert's rules if we need to, something like that.
Yes.
But that's without my issue is without an appeal procedure, the mayor's procedure ruling appears final unless some other parliamentary authority is incorporated elsewhere. And that's where you're saying the Robert's rules in order. Is that
That's where you could invoke the rules if as a group you chose to, yes.
But you're recommending that we take that out, that we shouldn't. You recommend that we should take that out, that we shouldn't use Robert's Rule of Order?
And as a firm, we're going to follow this every time, because if you do, you'll really need a parliamentarian, and y'all will have to really study up on them. Because again, it's there's a lot of informality that goes on that passes as Robert's rules. It's really not. Like, what is a primary motion? What is a secondary motion? What is a privileged motion? And on and on and on. And the reason that's important to understand is people use the rules to tie people up in knots. I have subscribed to the theory, and most of in fact, all of my jurisdictions do the same, that if we can all understand what we're voting on and what we're trying to accomplish, That really should be the role of government, not to try to get more complicated so that the folks don't understand it and so y'all don't understand it. So because I've seen it used as a weapon and it can be weaponized. It's weaponized in Congress every day. Just watch C-SPAN. But if you want to just try to get stuff done, the best way to do it is what we all know. Make a motion, get a second. If it doesn't get a second, it dies for like a second and you move on. If there's a procedural issue, somebody's talking out of turn or so forth, that's really what rules like this are generally for. It's to try to keep order, which the charter doesn't do a great job of doing. No charter does do a great job of that. And to make sure that, for example, we allow people to speak, but we have some decorum. We allow y'all to have debate, but with some decorum and that sort of stuff. That's kind of stuff that rules like these are supposed to be for.
So on the last page here, it says, questions of procedure not covered by these rules, the city charter, the city code, or general law are governed by Robert's Rules of Order.
Right.
Newly revised.
That's what I was referring to.
That's what you was referring
Latest edition, used as a guideline, but not binding authority.
Right. And that's my recommendation. I didn't put it in there, but I agree with it.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'll just make motions in the yes, I'm fine for now. I know I have to make motions to change some stuff.
Any other adjustments, changes that we can make? Any feedback? No? Then I will open up to public comment. Anybody from public comment wishes to speak on this matter?
I agree that all members should be always able to add something to the agenda. And whether it's being pulled up during their report time, a motion, a resolution, if that's agreed upon to bring it up during that time, getting it 9 days ahead allows for the evidences to be brought forward and presented to the citizens so that you get citizen feedback. And this is in the Sunshine Manual too, that it's preferred to have it on the agenda, but that it doesn't have to be on the agenda. Something can be brought up. And therefore, if let's say Commissioner Anderson wants to put forward a resolution or a motion or bring something to the table, period, whether there's a motion involved or not, just an issue, she's able to do that. And in 9 days early, therefore, she can put the evidence in front of the citizens and the rest of the commission as a report. But if you bring it up at the meeting, unless you bring in a stack of 1,000 copies or have a slideshow, then your evidences aren't going to be able to be brought forward. But issues can be brought forward easily. So I see both sides. I see the right to be able to do it and the privilege to be able to do it. But the preference would lie with bringing it in 9 days early or with all the evidences, just like with a consent agenda. Everything has to be presented for everyone on the board to read and understand if it goes on the consent agenda. Otherwise, they don't know what they're voting on. They need that 7 days in advance. And we saw in the past that didn't always happen. So look forward to that. As far as special meetings, yes, I met, as many days in advance as you can. But I do believe that one person, which is a minority of the board, shouldn't be able to create a special meeting unless it's one of those emergencies that someone knows we've got a hurricane coming and they ask for it prior to everyone else. So having one person being able to freely call meetings on a regular basis is, I think, pushing the envelope.
Thank you, Dr. Olmstead.
First off, disclaimer. I'm speaking, I know I'm in uniform, but I'm speaking right now as a citizen, and I hope it does not affect the brand in any way. As part of the changes, I would like for the wording to be specific as to the time of how long public comments or speakers can be up here. I know Commissioner Barron was told to, during her presentation, that she could make a motion, but to say it's going to be according to the city policy, I think that's unfair to the citizens, because at that moment you guys could then say, oh, the policy is 2 minutes. But if we have it and we know it's specifically 3 minutes or specifically 4 minutes, we need to have stuff. You guys are pushing for transparency. We need to know what we're up against and what we're facing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guire.
I'm glad that Commissioner Byrne brought this up. I have a problem with the agenda, putting something on the agenda with the final approval of the mayor. If I won't use Commissioner Anderson because I get pushback because what in the world he supporting her for? Some of you, this commissioner down here. I'm a citizen and I go to my commissioner and I start speaking to her about a situation in the community. And she said, yes, I agree with that. What we need to do, we need to put this is an agenda item. And she said, I'm gonna see, can I get this on the agenda? She bring it, she present it goes to your office for 9, whatever days it take to get on the agenda. But it seems to be, you decide you're Little Caesar. Well, I'll change that. You're Little Brian Nelson. You decide that you don't want it on the agenda. And they give you the power to say, no, it don't go on the agenda. So now here it is that I'm getting taxation without representation. So I think that right there, somebody need to claw that back. Any concern that a citizen have and either commissioner feel that that's something needed to be discussed, I think it shouldn't be nobody with any power. Remember, mayor, not king.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Mayor, during your campaign, and we had many conversations, and one of the conversations we had, and I said this not to be vicious, but I said our residents sometimes act like dumbasses. And I said that because if you look at what's happening, we let anybody tell us anything and we don't hold no accountability. That's why we get lied to time and time by politicians, because they know they can serenade us and they'll smooth it over. And then we come back and we raise hell. But once the damage is done, the damage is done. Now, you brought up that you've been the victim of tactics like this by Mel Nelson. So for me to see you come up and do the same thing, it bothers me. The last meeting when I was here, I said, Mayor, you're doing the same thing Nelson was doing, but you're just being polite about it. No changes are being made. I constantly see you writing, but I don't see any changes being made. With Golden Gym, I think Mr. McKinney brings a lot of knowledge. Nobody has yet to sit down with him and say, hey, let's have a deep dive in what you know. He already proved he embarrassed Mayor Nelson a few times on situations that he spoke about. What do? We suppress it. So now you're doing the same thing Nelson was doing. by wanting to control absolute power. And what you ran on, I want to have the citizens involved. I wanted them to have a decision. That's what you ran on. That's what you told them. And the citizen voted for you overwhelming because they wanted a change. Not necessarily you was the right man for the job. They wanted a change. They was tired of being victimized by Mayor Nelson. And so when it's just like a relationship. You're going through a divorce. Anybody who come to you and serenade you, you jump on board. So please don't take the people for granted. And remember, I always come up here and say, everybody up here was chosen to serve, not to dictate, but to serve. And if we do that freely and our hearts are freely, these things can't happen. But I want y'all to know that people see you. I see you. Others see exactly what's going on. And there will come a time when that get turned on his head, where everybody will see. And I'm trying to save you from embarrassment because it don't make any sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall.
Rod Olson, just a couple of comments. One, with the aspect of speaking of the agendas, when I pulled it open multiple times, I got a black half page. I couldn't read half of it. And on a couple of occasions I got in, I realized that's one of the things you say, user error, and I'm the user. But I don't know if anyone else has that problem. When you pull it up, half the page is blacked off for the documents within the agenda. And so it's difficult to read, kind of read one half, move it around for another. I'm not sure if it's a technical issue or it's a Rod Olson issue. With regard to agendas, I think all of you should have the ability to, and within reasonable time frames, to get something on the agenda. It's one of the complaints that everyone that was on the commission before pretty much had, and I think we need to carry. The aspect of, and I apologize for going over 3 minutes, it should be 4, but neither here nor there. I timed myself about 20 times at 2 minutes and 30 seconds to 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And I guess I paused once or twice, so I got a hiccup or I got a little nervous for a moment, and it ran a little bit longer. We all should have 4 minutes. There's also some of the language in the past indicated, well, and if there's 15 people want to speak, they only get 1 minute each or 2 minutes each. That's a pile of buffalo chips. We put you in those seats. We deserve our 4 minutes of fame. If someone comes up, if I agree with Mr. Hall or with I'll get it out. Mr. Bell, I could just come say, I agree with what he said, with the exception of whatever. We can try to refine things maybe, but everyone should have a right to come up and speak. We're 100 days in. Everyone is looking for change. I want to ask everyone just a moment now to take a deep breath with me. Nice deep breath in. Nice deep breath out. Let's do another one. Deep breath in. Deep without. Change is going to happen. Changes in wheels is progress happening, but we have to give time for it too. We're looking for some immediate results. What we have today, lived here for 12 years. It's been history for 12 years. And for what everyone tells me, it goes back further than that. It is not going to change in one meeting. It's not going to change in 1 week. It's not going to change in 100 days. Take a deep breath. Make sure your voice is heard. You've got these wonderful people up here serving us. Let them know. Don't call Rod Olson and say, hey, Rod, why don't you bring this up? I get 15 of those calls every week. If I agree with it, I do. The problem is that the people that come up and present every time, it's like a time I brought my shoelaces up. It's like shoelaces, or like Charlie Brown, blah, 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 blah. It's Rod Olson again. It's Sylvester Hall against Leroy Bell. It's Dr. O. It's Jim Moyer. We take the time to come up here. Please hear us. Give us our 4 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. Anyone else would like to speak on this? I will close public comment then. Any final thoughts, adjustments, anything of that nature?
I just want to say that I appreciate that you put this on the agenda, and it has allowed not just the public, but the commission to kind of give their input. And when we bring this back, it should have language that I believe that the public would be happy with, and also the commission. Um, whatever the suggestions are, is really so that we can work cohesively up here and also give that voice to the residents that they have been asking for.
Understood.
So
Any other
thank
final
you.
comments? What I do want to,
revisit these.
excuse
Sorry,
me?
we'll revisit these.
Yeah.
We're going to revisit this
Yeah,
again.
this is gonna come
Okay.
back as
As a final
with some,
draft.
yeah, as a
Final draft.
final
I
draft.
just, yeah, we'll bring it back. I do want to, as final comment, I'll go through and make sure that I hit all the.
Otherwise, this will come to you as a part of your ordinance for first reading.
I'm not sure what's going on. Hold on. Sorry. I don't know how to stop this. Hold on.
Cliff, your guidance says move your mouth.
Okay, hold on. It's you.
It's you
Hold on.
talking.
It's you
It's you
talking. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go. It's okay. Go.
Okay, that was my question.
Yes.
If we're going to revisit this.
So
That's all.
correct. So what I'll do is I'll have it redrafted. It'll be on the next agenda with the edits and things of that nature. So, any other final comments? Then I do want to go over and make sure Mr. Williams has these adjustments here. So on the first page under special meetings, well, excuse me, regular and special meetings, but specific to special meetings number 2, the comment of getting out the notice in advance. I was gonna say try to like aim for 3 days. Is that the special meeting should have as much notice as possible. That's the goal. Those are going to be far less. It's just that in emergency sake, things of that nature, they may not be able to get there. So just want to make sure. But
At least 3 days.
yeah,
3 days.
we can. Yeah, exactly.
That will.
Okay.
That
And then that
suffice
same
for me.
thing being updated on the second page where it says 24 hours changed to at least at minimum 3 days. And then we're going to add in a verbiage that says, with best efforts of a commissioner bring something on the agenda, it will be put on within a month of that being submitted.
The best efforts part. What is that? Within a month. That's not definite. So the best effort part.
That was, I was following your language there.
No, I said best effort. I said will be put on the will or shall be put on the agenda.
Okay, that's not what I heard. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that you had said with best efforts. So we actually just closed public comment. Let us just discuss it, and it'll be brought back at next meeting.
And
All right, we'll adjust that one. Didn't see any more on that. On page 4 goes into public comment, and the verbiage will be to match city policy. And the only reason I personally feel that we should look at that policy completely. I think there's some other things in there that could be adjusted. So to some points that were made, that it limited and provided times, as you'll see on our agendas, that it could be unilaterally reduced to 2 minutes if we want to. So there is some language that probably could be cleaned up or should be cleaned up that I was concerned about when that policy first came up. So however and whatever, but just something that I definitely want, I think we should review completely. And then that was it. Those are the adjustments. Mr. Williams, do you have all those?
Yes, Mayor.
Perfect. All right, then we will table this until the next commission meeting and have it brought back, cleaned up, and for final comments and get it approved from there. Do we need to make a motion on that?
The next meeting is August 19th.
Correct. I'll make a motion. I'm going to move to table this item, the city commission rules and order of business, to the August 19th, 2026 meeting to reflect the edits made today.
Okay, so moved.
Motion by Mayor Nesta, seconded by Vice Mayor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, but moving on to the designation of an official voting delegate for the Florida League of Cities annual conference. Each year, the Florida League of Cities requests that member cities designate one member of their city commission to be a voting delegate at the annual conference. This designation is done by nomination of the city commission. The selected person will vote on the new Florida League of Cities leadership and resolutions as presented at the conference. We have a conference coming up next week. The actual meeting for the delegate will be Saturday, August 15th at 9 a.m. In the packet, we did put the last 4 voting delegate members, usually commissioners. In 2022, it was vice mayor. In 2023, it was myself. In 2024, it was Commissioner Anderson. And in 2025, it was former Commissioner Smith. So I'm open to any discussion on who would like to be nominated or to nominate somebody for that.
Well, obviously, I think it's we've already.
Have to agree with you.
Yeah, so it's either
Commissioner Ruth or
Commissioner Ruth, have you
Commissioner
done it
Barron.
before? Have you done it before, Commissioner Ruth, when you were on council before?
No, but
Yeah.
if I was reliable to make a motion, I'd hope that we'd go down there with a united front and nominate our mayor.
Well,
He is new.
So it's not usually for us a mayor to go to that. It's usually the commissioners show up in some capacity.
Yeah.
I
we
have
all
a,
kind of rotate.
yeah,
It's usually the commissioners at that Florida League.
and we usually rotate, and that's why we put it in here to show kind of how it rotates around. For the commissioners, it's additional because on my side I do have different separate meetings that I will be part of.
I just didn't want it to interfere with Thursday morning's ethics training.
No, this is Saturday.
It's
This is the
Saturday.
Saturday, the 15th.
We ought to nominate Commissioner Barron.
Then make the motion.
There you go.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me take.
Wait, I was gonna nominate you.
It's between y'all.
Let me take public comment before we do any of that. Anybody from the public wish to speak right now? If not, I'll close public comment, and I'm open to a motion.
I make a motion to nominate Commissioner Sam Ruth
All right,
to
I have
be
a
our
motion.
representative at the Florida League of Cities on Saturday, August
15th.
the 15th.
All right, I have a motion for the designation to go to Commissioner Ruth. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Commissioner Anderson. Motion by Commissioner Barron. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations! What an honor.
I was not looking.
That's good. No, that's wow. I'm sure you'll represent us great.
Have
Have fun with it.
Fantastic job.
It's like it really goes by real quick.
It's fast. It's not.
Just
I'm just glad that it's you.
you're there with everyone else, and all it is they give you one of those little plaque, and they'll do some things, and you just.
Well, I
as
was
one
just hoping
person.
that he got to go in there and tout the fact that he was a commissioner now a mayor.
No, I appreciate
you're
that.
not
No,
gonna speak.
it's totally appropriate for a commissioner to
Yeah,
do that, so that's
you'll
perfect.
see what it is.
It's
It
not.
goes by real quick.
It does. It's easy.
I've been there before.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, business item number 3, which is quasi judicial, the Ridge Phase 3 Major Development Plan. Before we do that, Attorney Shepard, please remind us of what quasi judicial means in this framework.
Yes, sir. And we have several quasi-judicial matters on the agenda today. Just some of them are under business and some of them are under public hearings. And essentially, these are land use matters that require the governing body to act as essentially judges and apply evidentiary standards to whether the decision should be pro or against whatever the application is. That means the applicant has the initial burden to prove that they meet the standards set out in your code or your comp plan, depending on the issue, but usually it's some combination of both, mostly code, that it meets that by competent substantial evidence. So what is that? That means that an ordinary routine person would be able to take that in and say, that's evidence. What it is not is opinion. So you may hear opinions. They may come from the podium from citizens who are concerned about, I don't like it because I think it'll bring traffic, or I don't like it because I think it's too dense, or whatever. Those are opinions, but they're not evidence. It doesn't mean you can't listen to them. It just means that when you apply the standards that are applicable under your own code, if they're not evidence because they aren't experts, then they're not to be considered if you're going to do this right. The important standards are spelled out for each of these things in the staff report, and the staff also makes a finding. That constitutes evidence because your staff are considered by the courts to be experts. Whether you agree or disagree is not my point. It is that that's what the law provides. You have a planner, you have senior planners, you have engineers and so forth. And they all get together, and at the end of the reports for each of these matters, they will say whether they make a recommendation of approval or not, and the standards that your code sets out that you're supposed to apply. The reason this is important to point out is that what you're hearing from them is literally considered testimony, just as if you were in the case. And when the developer speaks, or if it's somebody, member of the audience who speaks, but is qualified, a planner, an appraiser, for whatever, a traffic engineer or something, that can also be evidence. But it's important that you understand that distinction between I don't like it and evidence. Once the the applicant has made a prima facie case that it meets all the requirements, frequently done by the staff. If the staff has said we recommend approval, that's telling you they've met the standards. The burden shifts to the governmental body to come up with evidence that it doesn't meet if it's going to deny. And that's where you would listen to public, other experts that might come and testify or whatever. At the end of the day, once the public comment is over and the testimony is over, then it's up to you to deliberate and make a decision. The last thing I'll add that is if you make a decision to deny a land use quasi-judicial decision, your planning department is required to issue a letter that says the reasons why. So it's important for the record that you say the evidence that you relied on to deny whatever it is that's being applied for. That's it.
Thank you, Attorney Shepard. Mrs. Sanchez.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Jean Sanchez with the Community Development Department. This item is a quasi-judicial request for the Ridge Phase 3 Major Development Plan. The request before City Commission is to approve the Major Development Plan for multifamily development within Parcel 3 of the Ridge Plan Development. This item was previously heard by City Commission on July 1st, 2026, and was tabled to August 5th, 2026 for additional discussion regarding transportation access and roadway improvement considerations. There have been no changes to the proposed MGP since that meeting, and given the time that's passed, staff has elected to present the item again in full for the benefit of the commission, the applicant, as well as the public. So the subject property is located within, like I said, the Ridge PD, generally on the southwest corner of southwest corner of Boy Scout Road and Apopka Road. The proposed multifamily development is located on the western portion of Parcel 3, with the remainder of Parcel 3 planned for future commercial and office development under a separate development plan. The property has mixed-use, future land use, and PD, planned development zoning designations. The Ridge PD was established by ordinance number 2858 on July 21st, 2021, and the PD was later amended by ordinance number 2938 on July 27th, 2022, which modified the approved PD and expanded the overall development area. The proposed multifamily use is within the approved development program for the Ridge PD, and the request before the commissions regarding the MDP application for Parcel 3 under the already approved PD entitlements and applicable development standards. The Ridge PD was approved as a mixed-use planned development with residential, commercial, office, industrial, open space, recreation, stormwater, and supporting infrastructure. Parcel 3 encompasses approximately 30.49 acres, and just about 14 acres are allocated for the proposed apartment development, and the remainder is identified for, like I said, commercial and office use. The proposed MDP does not change the approved land uses or development capacity established for Parcel 3. Instead, it actually implements a portion of the previously approved Ridge PD master plan through our major development plan process. The proposed MDP includes 363 multifamily dwelling units within 11 apartment buildings, along with a clubhouse, pool, access drives, parking areas, sidewalks, landscaping, utilities, and other related site improvements. As part of the project, Barnson Lake Drive will be extended from its current terminus to Apopka Road. This extension was contemplated as a parallel facility to Boy Scout Road. And it helps to distribute site traffic through the roadway network. The plan also includes cross-access and pedestrian connections to the future commercial office area and Parcel 8, which is identified as a community park and central amenity area for the PD. The plans identify proposed turn lane improvements along Apopka Road as well. Turn lane requirements were specifically discussed during the DRC meeting, with final turn lane details to be further evaluated during the construction site plan review based on final roadway design, access configuration, applicable engineering reviews. Approval of the major development plan would confirm the project's consistency with the approved PD and as well as development standards that are applicable, but it would not authorize construction. Final engineering and construction details will be addressed through the construction site plan review. The landscape plan provides a coordinated landscape treatment, including canopy and understory trees, hedges around apartment buildings, clubhouse, pool area, as well as pedestrian connections. It also provides perimeter buffers, parking lot landscaping, foundation landscaping, and planting areas intended to soften building frontages, screen parking areas, and enhance the pedestrian environment. On June 3rd, 2023, on June 3rd, 2026, the Development Review Committee recommended approval. At its meeting on June 9th, 2026, the Planning Commission voted 4-2 to recommend approval as well. Discussion prior to that vote included transportation, access, roadway improvement considerations. And at its July 1st, 2026 meeting, the City Commission tabled the item to August 5th for additional discussion regarding transportation improvement items. The proposed MDP does not increase the approved development capacity. For parcel 3, it does not change the approved land uses, does not authorize construction. Final technical compliance will be addressed through construction site plan review and permitting. And based on the plan, staff report, and supporting exhibits, staff finds that the applicant has demonstrated competent substantial evidence that the proposed MDP is consistent with the comprehensive plan, the approved Ridge PD Master Plan, the Land Development Code, as well as applicable development standards. Staff and applicant are available for questions.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez. Any questions from the dais?
I got a few. Most of my concerns are the corridor study. I have a great interest in the corridor study. Apparently it's going on. This would be its 5th or 6th year.
It was published, as I recall, in 2022 or 23.
2021. It's already had a first and second read.
Okay.
And approved. And there was a fantastic study that was put forth. The contractual obligations that I was most concerned about, at our previous council meeting, pertaining the deadline of the October 19th of this year, with nothing transpiring on that, which, led me to, push back on more so on the staff than the developer, because I appreciate everything the developer is doing. They've been forthcoming. Even with some of the comments that staff's been in a hurry to start that corridor study, which, ultimately they've successfully paid for and we've received. They set forth timelines of, we're not working in a vacuum. The problem that I'm having is I'm asking for questions from staff that nobody's aware of, and that's what bothered me at the time. If we're gonna sit up here and be quasi judicial, and I'm acting as a judge, and I'm asking for the study that nobody knows about, I'm asking for contracts that I have but nobody knows about. It's kind of hard for me to be impartial, which is what I was trying to do. I think you can even go back to the comments that were made. My attention was more into detail on our end than their end. And I still have major concerns when we put on the facades that, we're not going to entertain the traffic portion of this until 2028 or further. We've been working on this for going on 6 years and we've done nothing. And I want everything that's occurred up to this point to reflect the sins of the past are still haunting us today. And that's my only concern that I have pertaining to the project, because the Bradshaw Harmon connection is not going to get started until we first take a more robust and creative manner about kicking the tire and getting this thing started. And what I'm looking for more on our end is a more cooperative effort with the dais to backfill 4 years of nobody knew what was going on. So, I mean, I'm trying to respectfully just because we didn't know where it landed 4 years ago, we need to catch up and accelerate that time frame.
I will address the corridor study. The corridor study, people knew about it. So I'm one of the people who knew about it.
You were
I've,
not here though, right?
I'm sorry?
You were not here when we were
I
having
did
that
not
discussion.
touch transportation. I was here, sir. I've been here
No,
since
the
2017.
night of the council, the night that we
No,
had the council
she
meeting,
was
and I
not
was
I was out
asking
of the
for the
office,
study.
correct. Yes, sir. The planning
At
manager
the
covered.
time I asked, the week prior to that, me asking for the study, nobody on this end was giving me the information of material that I had in my hand.
I think they were confused. There are a lot of things going on Apopka Road, which is what I wanted to address about your comment on robust improvements. So let's start with the corridor study. We do know about it. We know about it because we used it to actually apply for the build grant. Back then, we applied for the race grant. We did not get it the first time. We applied again, and then we got it the second time, which is something the city should be proud of. It's over $17 million. It's for Apopka Road Complete Streets. That is your robust improvement. The unfortunate thing with infrastructure is it's long range planning and those kinds of projects. Frankly, the shortest I've seen is about 10 years to come into reality. We're always trying to play catch up with these things. So, is there a specific question that is not related perhaps to executed agreements? Because those I'm not really that privy with, and I would have to defer that to the city attorney.
Well, the information I was asking at the time
Mhm.
was the information that I had in my possession. We were getting comments that was coming from the public because of the lack of transparency that we're discussing right now wasn't afforded to us back when I was having the discussion at the last sit down that we brought this thing forward.
Unfortunately, we've had staff turnovers and significant ones. We've had a change in transportation coordination, a change in city engineer and public works.
Change in mayor.
That too. Yes, sir. So we don't want to, we try really, frankly, I'll speak on behalf of planning. Planning tries to be really comprehensive with our stuff. We're trying to coordinate. Public works is always coordinating. We have standing meetings. So these things just take time to get familiar with. But yes, the last 10 years, and I can only speak for the last 10 years since I've been here, there have been a lot of turnovers. Unfortunately, that knowledge has gone away with some of the people. There are little things happening that we have to, it takes time to go back and realize what's going on.
Well, if we were going to be transparent, there, moving forward, because I want to make sure the developers afforded all the necessary tools he needs from us to really keep moving forward on this project, because I think it's important. In the outside world, they have time. Time is money, and I want to make sure that they're afforded all the time that they can get to make sure that the product that they give us is successful. But we need to be very transparent with the transportation obligations that we're moving forward in the future, because the last transportation study that was done in 2021, it's kind of died on the vine, and I want to make sure that we revisit
Are you
that.
referring to the corridor
And
study? Because I would
yes,
disagree with that.
well, there
Yeah.
was a first, second read, and there was a transportation study that was actually contractually obligated us
Mhm.
to at least start by October 19th of this year.
So when that study and really that agreement that you're talking about, which for legal questions, I'll defer that to the city attorney. When that was done, we did not get the build grant. There is no plan at the time, no robust improvement plan for Apopka Road. We saw the writing on the wall. A lot of things were happening down there. Obviously, you know about that intersection on Apopka Road on Boy Scout. Semis were getting stuck and things like that. So that was contemplated because we didn't have anything. We got turned down for the race grant. And then when that was executed, and this is what I'm telling you is what I understand just based on my research through these projects, not necessarily because it has everything to do with this this quasi judicial item. But because of my projects with the build grant and really a lot of things in that area. So when we got turned down for the build grant, that agreement was entered into by the city. I wasn't privy to a lot of the terms in there. As I understand it, it was reviewed by the staff who were appropriately, um, you know, reviewing those studies or whatever the case may be. I wasn't in the room. However, I know the reason why. So when we did get the build grant, this agreement and its amended agreement, okay, has always been executed. So I guess there's a kind of a double solution to Apopka Road, which is good and bad. I'm not sure what the city exposure is on that, but
But we are actively receiving impact fees for the implementation of some of this, but yet we still don't have an idea where the funding is on the grant or when we're going to receive it.
again, if we're talking about transportation impact fee credits, I'll defer that to the city attorney and perhaps the finance director. I can't comment on those.
And let me ask this, if I can jump in here, moving forward, especially with these type of business items and specifically quasi judicial, but the background information you're asking about, what can we do better to make sure that you have it, that you don't feel that there's question marks out there still?
The transparency we're having right now, it's when you ask for it and nobody knows what you're talking about. That the lack of departmental transparency was more offending than not getting the answer, because nobody knew what I was talking about.
And I think that there's sometimes it goes back to staffing overall, that there's many people wearing multiple hats, and sometimes it's not the person you think sometimes, and one person may be running one specific project, and that's that one person. So a lot of institutional knowledge is being kept by one or two people, and so to your point, it does create delays in getting information out, things of that nature. So I definitely hear that.
And I just want to just add that because from my understanding of this the development agreement, actually the developer was responsible for the corridor study, and they used that. The city of Apopka used that to get the grant. So
Yes,
there
ma'am.
had to be some collaboration because you use that information. So staff had, I just think maybe sometimes, because I know with me being a new commissioner now, I guess I'm not really new anymore, but I was confused at first on who to ask information for, because I wasn't sure who to ask. Now I kind of know, who to ask. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But but just based off of just meeting with the developers, going over everything, that grant that was secured was a result of the developers assisting the city. You kind of work
Correct.
together with that. And that grant was for the widening of the Apopka Road to 4 lanes from Harmony Road to South Hawthorne Avenue. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, and that's at $17 million. And
Correct. That's the
$5
build
million.
grant.
It's just $5 million that was a match that was set aside in the
Right, a little bit over 4. It's a 20% match.
20% match. Okay.
Yes.
And we already have funding for that. That's already was set aside in the budget.
That's
for
what
the-
I
yeah,
understand.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted, because there was some, because I know staff
Yes,
knew
yes.
about it. So
I understand. I think staff overs
Uh-huh.
always create a vacuum.
Mhm.
When our transportation coordinator left and city engineer changed, there were a
Sure.
lot of things that
So
were.
with the transportation coordinator position, but we don't have that position anymore because we completely reclassified that position. So
We
we
have a
don't need that.
transportation engineer
So, but
is what we've been trying to hire for, but the problem
But
is
the
our
I-
salary right now is
to
not where it needs to be.
transportation coordinator. I was asking about the transportation coordinator position that we reclassified. That's the position that was reclassified.
I have no idea what the positions are. I mean, that's beyond me.
So I
I'm
think
not. I'm not
that's
sure.
just once again there was a vacant position that we wouldn't have all these issues and these questions if we would have had hired a transportation coordinator. I mean, we'd reclassified the position now, so we don't have.
To be fair, planning is trying to fill that gap, and I
Mhm.
know. But you have part-time transportation planners up there, so.
Mhm.
But yes, when they left, there were a lot of projects that we kind of had to play catch up.
Okay.
I got one final question. Sure. So what I'm hearing you is, can our existing transportation support this additional traffic that we're going to be bringing to the area?
At the time, considering that the TIA was produced based on the entitled it's what the
'Cause
TIA.
phase 1 and phase 2 is complete. We're moving into phase 3.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to distinguish phase 1, phase 2 is completion, which wasn't part of the additional, that was a projected traffic pattern that was going to be 4 years out. So
Right.
we've rolled the clock 4 years. We're in phase 3. There's 4, 5, and 6 coming. Our water, wastewater going to be able to support.
I'll defer that to Public Works, sir.
Our stormwater plan is, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a transparent discussion that if anybody's paying attention, they can go back and hear this, because when it doesn't work, I'm not sitting on the, I'm not the Christmas ornament everybody gets the kick.
And I actually asked the developers that question. We kind of talked about the force main oversizing, like they actually oversized the piping from the 8-inch to the 24-inch. The water main oversizing for the force main, they went from 8-inch to 24-inch. The regional lift station, the code requires that we put a duplex in 2 pumps. They put in 3 pumps for the capacity,
Correct.
that future capacity. So I did ask those questions. For I understand developers actually exceeded what the code was.
Yes, all these commitments that were imposed back in 2021, 22, they have been completed on the utility side. So the force main has been constructed as a 24-inch and extended all the way along Ocoya Apopka, Modern Road, all the way to the new apartments there.
Well, I think the question was specific to capacity, though.
Yeah,
To
and
capacity,
That's the
yes.
capacity.
I'm
The regional
not
lift
worried
station,
about
that's
the
capacity.
project. I'm worried
Yes,
about the
that-
hospital and the surrounding.
Well,
That's
that's the
been-
capacity. That's
That's
what we're
been
talking about.
accounted for from the very beginning
Thank
of the
It's
project.
all about
When the
capacity.
master development plan, the original master development plan for the entire development was approved, which is going almost 5 years back.
Yep.
Yes, the stormwater is already accounted for. There's an existing pond that will accommodate for all the stormwater for this particular parcel 3. So that has also been addressed.
And to add secondary to that study, the one of the pushbacks that we got was about the environmental study, and I would like to let everybody know that there is a completed environmental study, and everything out there has been checked 9 ways to Sunday, and it's secure. So I appreciate the efforts on everybody's part to get some of my other questions answered. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was on record with the surrounding areas. We're not going to this additional impact that's being brought in that area is not going to have it's not going to affect the other areas around it. So I want to make sure that that we know that.
And
Are
going
we still moving on the traffic signal at Boy Scout?
So the traffic signal at Boy Scout was already identified in the original traffic impact
Correct.
analysis, which was done in 2021,
Yep.
April, I believe, of 2021. Now we're 5 years after that. Once we get into the construction site plan, the request will be to update the traffic impact analysis and include all the new traffic flows that we have, including the one on Binion and the one on Ocoya Apopka Road, and basically within I believe it was a 2-mile radius from the very beginning.
But that Apopka
So-
Koi side it's correct me. I think it's 45 and Binion's 35 speed limit. Correct.
They changed it from
Binion,
45 to 35.
yeah, changes. Binion, I believe it's also 45 in some areas.
It's in some
There, correct.
I saw somewhere that they were recommending a change to 35.
That is for Boy Scout Road.
Okay.
Yes, Boy Scout Road is going from 45 to 35. Yeah, so Gene already explained some of the issues with the federal grant, with the build grant. It's a process of could be 5 to 6 years, right? We are at the point right now that we have been notified by the federal government and through DOT, of course, that the grant will be awarded, and we submitted the final documentation for that. So we expect probably by the end of the year, possibly by beginning of January, that we're gonna have the agreement signed before we get to that point, we cannot invest, we cannot spend any money on that project because otherwise we can get reimbursed. So at that point, we'll engage into the design process. Technically looking, we're probably about 2.5 years from starting construction on the project. And that will include the complete street widening of Ocoya Apopka from Harmon Road all the way to South Houghton Road.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any additional questions?
Well, I don't know. Everyone said they met with him, but I did meet with him on the 28th. I met with Mr. Craig, Perry, and Pedro. And yeah, I was kind of brought up to date from their half. And my understanding is that he was not allowed to do any work until we started the work. And the grant we have, but we haven't started on the widening because we
Correct.
haven't signed the agreement
Correct.
yet.
Yes.
And so basically what we're hearing today for the apartments really kind of includes this whole widening and what they're committed to, but it's
Yes.
just the apartments is something that he has been doing in phases to develop this area.
Correct. And that developer's agreement is only talking about improving the section of Ocoya Apopka from Harmon to, I believe, 13th
Right.
Street. So we're going further past Bradshaw all the way to South Houghton, which will include, and at the time, of course, that was still a county road. In the meantime, most of it has been transferred with uh, excluding the section between 13, I believe, and South Houghton, which the county is now improving some of the drainage system. Once that's being completed, that will be transferred to the city. So at that point, we'll have a full control over that entire section of the road.
So, and my understanding is that with these apartments, it's anywhere between, if I'm not mistaken, they told me 3 to 5 years before it actually, or is it 2 to 3 years? Just because the timing of having the apartments ready for people to move in, it's important to have this road widened, to have some of the transportation in place. For the impact of the additional units that you're building.
Absolutely. So thank you for that, Vice Mayor Pedro Gasson of Apopka Center Line Development. The short answer to that is that it's a process. We have to go through the permitting even after, if we're blessed enough to receive the approval today. It's about 2.5 years from that process in order to move forward with respect to everything that we have to do in order to meet with the permitting and actual construction documents, et cetera. So that's typically the time frame.
So about 2.5 to 3 years.
Yep.
So with that said, because the impact is
363.
43 or
363.
Right. So the impact of those residents coming in there, it really concerns this road. So that's what I'm looking for our staff is the time frame for the road.
I understand you were given kind of a printout separate from the staff report about the planned transportation projects on there, and I kind of outlined, like Vlad said, the grant agreement for the build grant is right now being reviewed. It's I think it's under legal review that our grant administration just sent out, and so we're trying to get that executed. We're hoping before the end of the year, like Vlad is thinking. I think he's being very liberal, but before the end of the year, we're hoping to get that started. We have dates and milestones that we are required to meet for that grant award. And so I think I gave you something, the preliminary engineering environmentals, we're hoping to start in January next year. This is assuming, of course, that the grant agreement is executed by both the city and FHWA. So really design starts next, let's see, July 2028. Right of way acquisition that we'll figure out will start around July as well. We're going to start construction, we're hoping by April 2030. But those are kind of the milestones per the agreement too.
And just one more question, because you said the second grant was approved. What was the date of that grant?
Which grant? Oh, the
That's
the build grant.
Submittal that was
I have to check.
Okay.
Don't recall.
When you get,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sure.
Because I know the first grant. was
Sometime
signed off,
last
but
year.
The second,
Mhm.
but when was the second grant submitted? I mean, not submitted, approved.
We did. You were there in our community meeting outreach. One was in
Right.
Van Carlton. One was at the VFW.
Right.
We submitted around that time. We received information that we were recipient about 6 to 8 months later. So it was sometime last year that we were awarded. But I'll have to double check and I'll send
Okay.
that information
Would you? Thank you.
to Radley. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I just want to say that I also met with Mr. Pedro, Mr. Perry as well. So expert on that is but I do want to share that they gave me a presentation, if you will, on the fees that they've paid to date and the remaining fees, impact fees that are still pending. So thus far, they have paid to date $5,787,372 in impact fees, and there's still another $6,061,607 pending. So once the build out for the ridge is completed, there should be almost $12 million, $11,848,979 of impact fees that should be coming our way. So I just want to make sure that that's true and we're good.
I can't really attest to all the numbers.
Yes.
Because I'm a planner.
I know, but I know Miss Blanche is in here, so I
Yes,
know
ma'am.
she can kind of come up with those numbers at the top of her head.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. We are tracking those impact fee credits. I would have to go back and look at those numbers. I don't have them with me, but they are, coming in, and I think they are getting some types of credit as well.
Okay.
So, but I would have to go back and look at that. I didn't bring that information with me.
Okay.
Okay,
Should have asked. Thank you.
no problem.
Any additional questions?
You know what? I do. One more question. So in regards to the impact credit, and I'm glad you actually brought that up. And this is just for the residents that actually had some concerns and didn't kind of understand the process with the impact credit that we give. So from my understanding, statutorily, if the developer goes beyond the scope of what's required in code, is that what triggers the credit for the impact fees? Okay. Perfect. All right. So that was one of the things that I got questions on. They thought there was just something that we decided to give them back a credit, but statutorily we have to do that. I just want to just say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
The utilities were addressed through an upsizing agreement.
Okay.
So basically the difference of what was required for the development, what the city requested in considering, of course, future improvements there and
That's the okay.
additional need for capacity.
I just want to clear that up for some calls that I
Yes.
received on that. Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions? I too met with the developer as well previously just to get a better understanding. I met with them at previous iterations and phases of this project. I will open up to public comment now. Anybody from the public wish to speak?
Leroy Bell, Apopka. It was something that was just said. I believe in whatever you guys going to do, but I think when it comes to these things, when it leaves from the Development Review Committee, that we once said that any comprehensive studies and everything, all I's need to be dotted, all T's need to be crossed. It don't need to be, I'll get back with you with that. I don't know about this, I'm not privileged to this, but I know about this. Everything need to be black and white in the front of you guys. Everything. Especially with where infrastructure and everything going. So please, before you make a decision, don't wait for something to come back. It need to be up front right now before you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
In Sylvester Hall, one of the things I would ask is that once we have these meetings, if you got agenda items, the department that's responsible for these items should be prepared to speak on any questions that the citizens may have or you may have. They get the agenda, they know what's on the agenda, they should prepare for it, and when they come here, be prepared. The other thing I want to ask Ms. Sanchez, when the last time your department hired an employee? Because you keep saying that, hey, we're short, we got turnovers, we got this. When the last time an employee was hired in your department? And so when we say we don't have people to pour the concrete, Mayor, this is one of the things that I say when I talk about priorities. You know, these are quote unquote low level jobs, but we are focusing on the executive jobs with 3 positions that requiring us to pay over $600,000 a year. It don't make sense to me. And that's why I say, as a supporter of yours, I can come here and I can tell you that. It's not to be ugly with you, but we all say, hey, look, give us time. Well, if you're starting out in the wrong direction, you ain't gonna never get there. So that's why it's important for us to start in the right direction to get where we want to. And the only way we do that is knowing exactly where we are, material readiness and financial for the city, period. Anything else, you're misleading the people. That's why I speak that way. And so if we can concentrate on getting some of these low-level jobs where the people who are actually coming in and doing the work, sweat labor and everything else, they deserve the same respect and the same pay that the executives are getting, because they're the ones that actually going out, keeping us safe and doing the work to give us this quote unquote image that we're trying to portray to everybody that come to Apopka. Well, I truly believe if your staff, the police department, and fire department, public works are doing their job, the city will glow like a beacon. You don't need a public image to come in and sell the city. It will glow like a beacon, a beacon. So let's keep that in mind when we say priority. And this department is not an isolated situation. This is every department. And those issues are not being addressed. Those are the things that concern me when we say we're not moving in, we're moving in the right direction. Give us time. If I see you going the wrong direction and I know you're not going to get to where you want to be, am I one of those good people just sitting by watching bad things happening when I know better? So that's why I'm saying that. It's not to be ugly, not to be against you. It's that I see us going in the wrong direction and we need to do a U-turn and come back and get on track. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. I will say, I just want to correct, I don't see these as low-level jobs.
Good news is I only have about a half a dozen things. First, right out of the box, as you drive around the community, one of my concerns with multi-story units is the fact that we are in danger area. You see everyday devastation go everywhere. When you see apartment complexes go up that are 3 stories high, all block, great. Next one is 1-story block. The rest is lumber. And you go to others and all 3 stories are lumber. That's an issue for our police, for our fire, and for the safety of the residents that are going to live there, in my opinion. Secondly, schools. That's how I got involved with coming to these meetings to begin with. That's 108 new students that'll be coming in. Where are they going to go? Is there clear roads and sidewalks to get to the schools they need to get to? Going way back, how I got involved with this is Melissa Bird was brand new. School board comes up, has a meeting. Everyone's concerned because there was 46 trailers on the Wolf Lake campus that my granddaughters were going to. That's how I got involved in this whole thing. Melissa said, we have a mandate from the state not to be the cork in the bottle that we have to approve all new development. So, you know me, I'm like the dog without the bone. I went to Teresa Jacobs and I can't remember the superintendent at the time. She's no longer there. And I said, could you show me a copy of them? One from the state says, well, no, Mr. Olson, that doesn't exist. I said, well, then tell me in the last 15 years, 6 years ago, this was, how many times you said no to a development in Apopka? 0. And now the 46 trailers are gone. Isn't that wonderful? And they're closing schools in Orange County, but we have to look up, we're a growth area. Where are these kids going to go? The trailers cost more to operate. They're not as safe. And anytime there's any kind of a weather event, guess where they go? Into the main building, disturbing another class. It's enough said on that. The other aspect, the aspect roads and sidewalks, I guess I kind of hit on that. I had the aspect of, well, that's frames. Already hit that. My numbers are rolling around here, just moving. But the aspect of looking at staffing positions, I've been writing you on that. Everyone's wearing multiple hats. We've lost CRA monies because we have one person managing 3 different things, including CRA. We didn't spend it, so we lost it. We have got to do better. I think Mr. Hall and Mr. Bell both hit the nail on the head. We in the past have approved things and we don't have all, well, we're going to get that to you. They got to have every I dotted, every T crossed before it moves to even present. Come up here. They have to pass all those I's and T's at the development department, goes to the planning commission, should have every I dotted and every T crossed. And when it comes to you, it should just be a cakewalk. Another thing we need to look at addressing is other cities have implemented timeframes. So if Rod Olson comes in and says, I'm going to put this development in, you sign off, and now we're 3 years, we're 4 years, we're 5 years later, he hasn't done anything. We need to put time limits, as many cities do. You've got 72 months to deliver, and if you don't, it goes back into the center. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? All right, we will close public comment period. Any final comments from the commission? All right, I will look for a motion to approve the major development plan for the Ridge Phase 3.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Ruth.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Can I just get a 2-minute break? It's so cold in here. I need to.
You guys complain that it's hot. You complain that it's cold. Sure, 5-minute break.
I just wanted to, 5-minute break.
I do want to thank Mr. Perry, Mr. Carter for your meeting and your time. I sincerely appreciate everything you did for me and get my answers. I wish we could have done better as a team and helped kick start this 4 years ago.
I'd like to call back to order our meeting and resume on to quasi-judicial Cold Link Apopka revised major development plan. Who do I have running this? Mr. Amir, how we doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing very well. Appreciate you being here today.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amir Hamza. I'm a planner at the Community Development Department. So the applicant has submitted a major development plan for a property located at 2560 West Orange Blossom Trail, which is just east of Stewart Avenue and west of Lakeview Drive. The major development plan is called Coal Link Apopka, and it consists of a proposed new warehouse building to the existing site. The new building has a total area of 168,600 square feet. And this MDP was previously approved, actually, at the March 3rd, 2026 City Council meeting, but it is being brought back to City Commission as the applicant has done a Scribner error by putting the incorrect total building area on the previous MDP. The previously approved MDP had a significant lower building area of 147,624 square feet. Hence, this item is being brought back to City Commission because this is an increase of around 20,000 square feet instead of instead of decrease. These are the vicinity and aerial maps of the 2560 West Orange Blossom Trail site. The total site area consists of 27.63 acres. The future land use for this property is industrial, and the zoning for this property is light industrial. This is the Coal Link Apopka major development plan site. It's pretty much the same, just the increase of the 20,000 square feet and an addition of one or two parking spaces to comply with the code. The Development Review Committee has recommended approval on July 14, 2026. Planning Commission has recommended approval, and the recommended motion for City Commission is to approve the Coal Link Apopka major development plan. Staff and applicant are available for further comments and questions.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, any questions?
The only question I had was reference to the exit that is on Lakeshore Drive. There's
Mayflower?
I think it's Mayflower.
Yeah, it's from Mayflower, as you can see. Yeah, Mayflower.
So, and I know that is a very short stretch because it leads up to 441. There's a lot of traffic there too, and I know that there are semis that are coming in and out of that area. Is there a contingency plan in place in terms of supporting the traffic along with the residents that are there and making sure that the semis that are leaving this area are not causing any additional setbacks?
So the developer has agreed to redo Mayflower Avenue to code standards, and it will hit up a Lakeview. It doesn't the entrance doesn't touch 441, so Mayflower will end at Lakeview Drive. But for more information, I'll defer that to the applicant as well.
Thank you.
And I had one question. It echoes Commissioner Behrings. Wouldn't a common sense approach to this, if we could actually create a signaling pattern, meaning give Mayflower gets a left-hand turn only, a sign just for the turn, not the turn in green. You could also do the other side on the north side. It could be a turn left, to where you got two lanes of traffic merging at one another, but actually making total opposite turns. And then, for a timing mechanism, then go to an all green to where you get the through traffic. Or maybe step back coming out of the site with the semis, a right approach, meaning come to Mayflower, right to the stop sign, right down to a traffic signal that allows you to get to 414. I'm basically what I'm trying to do is take a much higher level approach at it and maybe interject some very inexpensive discussions or comments to the discussions that could be had at a future date. I'd like to see us kind of entertain that as a discussion item as a group to see if even the signaling can be done that way.
Yeah, I can defer that to the applicant, see what they have to say in terms of improving the.
But they
to-
wouldn't have
right now,
access to that light. That would be on our end, correct?
yeah, it's a city owned, so I'll have to refer that to Vlad since he deals with transportation.
He's coming.
Yeah.
Hey, these guys are professionals at what they do, and I value their input. So.
Yeah, Mayflower is the only road that is actually operated and maintained by the city. So the applicant has accepted to do complete reconstruction of the road all the way to Lakeview. Lakeview, the entire section of Lakeview is Orange County Road.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, 441 is a DOT road, which the applicant is proposing per the traffic impact analysis, extension of the left turn lane in the northbound direction.
Correct.
So those are the improvements that are going to happen on the traffic side. We know that the short, just the span is just so short there between 441 and Orange Boulevard. And most of the traffic, I believe the traffic impact analysis show like 85% of the traffic to be heading towards 441 or to be coming from 441. So only, I believe 15% will go to the south, and they will be dispersed between West Orange Boulevard and, of course, Binion Road.
But you and I both know on the south side on Mayflower, 3 semis lined up. That's the length of the entire road.
I believe there was a widening proposed there on the Mayflower, right? Correct. Yes. Joshua will explain a little bit more.
Yes. So on Mayflower Avenue, that's currently is 24 feet, and we're widening it to 36 feet. So a much wider breadth to account for that extra staging that can happen.
Correct.
Any additional questions? No? All right. Well, I will open up to public comment. Anybody from the public wish to speak? I will close public comment. Any final comments, questions, concerns from the dais?
From the dais to staff, I mean, this is the kind of, especially for me, this is a win-win for the city. And I hope that we enter into a lot more of these kind of, we have an imbalance in the city of Apopka. We're heavy residential. So I'm eagerly waiting patiently for creative ideas like this to come to the city, because I think it's a win-win for both the applicant and the city.
CoLink has been in our city now. This is just an expansion for CoLink. Am I correct?
That's correct.
And Mayflower, Mayflower Avenue has been a contention for a few years. So the fact that they are going to bring it up to city standards, and I can see what Commissioner Ruth was saying about the exiting and entering into that Mayflower. It's not a long road. It's a matter of controlling how many semis you get coming in. I mean, how does that work when they're coming into business? Is it a certain time that they're coming into the business or leaving the business? When is your I guess your most busy hours of the day?
So I can't speak to the exact
Of the
exact
business
time,
hours, yeah.
exact details, because each I guess there'll be like tenants within this as well that are seasonal and that sort of thing. So I can't exactly say what it is, but typically the distribution will be during hours that are not peak hours for traffic exiting or leaving the AM or PM peaks.
Yeah, I think a lot will have to do with the business hours of CoLink.
Correct.
And then, 441 does get busy. They have some peak hours in the morning and peak hours at night. And so I can understand wanting some kind of traffic control there.
And I will say, we've been working with, and it's been for a while now, working with FDOT on 441 traffic signal timing.
Yeah.
Just to get cars in and out of there, because it'll back up all the way to Binion some days. So we're working on that as well. That's definitely high on the priority, and I think it'll help that flow as well. So it's
Yeah, there's one light right on 441 that you died.
correct. That's a light.
Oh, is that the
That
right?
that's the one I'm trying to get. Yes.
Okay.
Any final comments?
No, no, that's
All right. I will look for a motion to approve the revised major development plan for Cold Link Apopka.
so moved.
Moved by Vice Mayor, second by Commissioner Ruth. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
The next one was moved.
Thank you. Moving on, quasi-judicial Floridian Town Center Hotel Major Development Plan. This one is being continued. I do want to just open it up just in case anybody's here to speak publicly about it. If not, I will look for are they continuing it to the next meeting? Okay, for a motion to continue this item to the August 19th agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Ruth.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 3169, second reading for the general employees pension trust opt-out clause.
Ordinance number 3169. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Apopka, Florida, amending Chapter 54 Retirement Systems, Article 2, General Employees Retirement System, by amending Section 54-19, Definitions, by amending Section 54-20, Membership, and by amending Section 54-21, Board of Trustees, providing for codification, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and setting an effective date.
Thank you. Dr. Patton, any changes?
No changes.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the dais on this one? No questions. Open to the public. Any public comment on this? No public comment. We'll close it. I will look for a motion to approve ordinance number 3169.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Ruth.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Barron. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Ordinance number 3158.
Ordinance number 3158. An ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, amending the future land use element of the Apopka Comprehensive Plan of the City of Apopka, changing the future land use designation from residential very low suburban to office for properties located at 4410 Chandler Road and 4420 Chandler Road, owned by Richard Chandler, comprising of 5.12 acres more or less, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Johnson, planner at the Community Development Department. The applicant has requested a future land use amendment for properties at 4410 and 4420 Chandler Road for a development of child care facility. The size of the properties is 5.1 acre. The current use of the property is residential. The current future land use is residential very low suburban, and the requested future land use is office for child care facility use. The subject properties are located approximately 300 feet away from Kelly Park School, and Kelly Park School currently has a future land use of office and zoning of office zoning, which are consistent with the requested future land use and zoning of the subject property. Based on the proximity to the existing school, staff believe that proposed office future land use for childcare facility would be compatible with the surrounding area. In 2025, Planning Commission approved special exception use for childcare facility under the current land use and zoning. Following that approval, the applicant submitted a site plan proposing a maximum student capacity of 275 students. And during the site plan review process, staff found that proposed student capacity exceed the permitted number of the student per our code that limits the number of students in residential zoning district based on the projected number of person per household and the density. Based on the calculation with a maximum density of 2 dwelling units per acre on 5.1 acre property, the maximum student capacity would be limited to 29 students. The calculation is provided in the staff report, and according to the site plan provided by the applicant, the size of the building is about 15,000 square feet with about 30 parking spaces. Under the current use and zoning designations, the student capacity would be limited to 29 students in proposed 15,000 square feet building. Therefore, staff recommended the applicant to pursue a future land use amendment and rezoning to address the student capacity limitation issue. For clarification, approval of proposed future land use amendment and rezoning would not authorize approval of the site plan or special exception. If these future land use amendment and rezoning are approved, applicant will still need to be required to obtain special exception and site plan approval. On April 1st, 2026, the DRC recommended approval, and on June 9, 2026, Planning Commission unanimously recommended not denial due to concern that office use may not be compatible with the surrounding area if the proposed child care facility is not constructed on the property. Recommended motion from the staff is to accept the first reading of ordinance number 3158 and hold it over for second reading and adoption. Staff and the applicant are available for any questions and or comments, and the applicant has prepared a presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Sun. Applicant, if you'd like to do a presentation now, and then we'll jump into questions and comments from there.
Good afternoon. For the record, McGregor Love, 215 North Eola Drive. While I'm getting this set up, if I could ask staff to go back to the slide that it had the concept plan and the elevations, which will be helpful for our discussion. Oh, I have that control. Well, Commissioner Ruth, I'm happy to report that you don't have to wait long for creative non-residential solutions of residential land. This is the proposal we have for you today, and I think that I think a little brief history is necessary for this application. I was not involved back in July of 2025 when my client received approval from the Planning Commission as part of a special exception. And the intent was to keep the zoning the same to allow exactly what we're proposing today. And as a condition of that approval, the Planning Commission said, well, we really want this to be a major development plan, which would mean it would go before you for approval. During that process, it was when we discovered that this zoning provision, which may or may not ever have been at issue before, would limit this facility to 29 students. Obviously, that was not the intent, and that was not understood at the time. And so that's when I was involved. I worked with staff, and they told us, well, office, future land use, and zoning is probably appropriate here. We still have to go back before the Planning Commission and have our special exception modified based on the current design and the current zoning. So we have that coming up. But this will allow us to develop what was originally intended to be developed on this property. Now, the Planning Commission did unanimously recommend denial, and when I got up to speak to the Planning Commission about that, based on the conversation I heard, I wanted to clarify what the source of their concern was, because they brought up the concern, well, what if you don't develop this property? We like the use, we think that it's supportive of the neighborhood, but what happens in the future if an office is not compatible with the area? And I entirely recognize that concern. At the time, we proposed modifying the ordinance to include an assurance that it couldn't be developed. The reason staff didn't vote in favor is because we did not have that language settled. We do today. And I'd like to read this language into the record for you. It's not part of the draft ordinance you have before you. I believe that it will be at the next hearing if you move this to a second reading. But we propose adding a new section 3 to the agreement, which I'll read now. Notwithstanding the office future land use designation approved by this ordinance, and notwithstanding any use that may otherwise be permitted under the city's comprehensive plan, land development code, or any implementing zoning district, development and use of the real property described and depicted in Exhibit A shall be limited to childcare, daycare, and other substantially similar childcare or child-oriented uses and or accessory or ancillary uses customarily incidental thereto. This limitation is site-specific to the property described in Exhibit A, is an express part of the future land use map amendment adopted by this ordinance, and shall govern all subsequent zoning, site plan, permitting, occupancy, and development approvals for the property unless amended by subsequent ordinance adopted in accordance with applicable law. We've cleared that language with both staff and the city attorney's office. So now I know that there will likely be some questions about the site plan, which you have up on the screen here. So I'll go over some of the most likely questions here. There you can see two access points. The access point at the north is I believe it's a 20-foot wide stabilized surface for emergency purposes only. The design of the site is mostly based on the topography, but you see at the north there are several heritage trees that will be saved by this design that pushes most of the development to the south. So at the bottom at the south end, there is a right in, right out. There are 46 parking spaces. Under code 28 are required. Typically, because the applicant does operate a daycare of the same size in Apopka, at peak time during pickup and drop off, they usually have around 10 or 11 cars. So this parking lot is expected to be more than adequate to contain any queuing and parking without any spillover going on to Jason Dwelly Parkway. And I'm happy to answer more detailed questions about the site plan if you have them after this presentation. Finally, we have been working with Mr. and Mrs. Sanders, who live to the west. You can see them on this concept plan. Their property is just there to the west. The Sanders have lived on their property since 1997, almost three decades. The city in the area has developed around them. At the time in 1993, there was a cross-access easement that stretched east to west and then stretched north to south. The city's changed in the time. It's grown around them. They have an access issue, and we are committed to helping them solve that issue. On this concept plan, at the very northwest corner, you see a 60-foot wide sort of, I don't know what geometry calls that, a rhombus maybe. That was what the Public Works Director had suggested we incorporate into the plan to assist with their access. As an additional point of background that I forgot to mention, in 2017, when the Orchid Estates plat was recorded, there was a 30-foot easement recorded in favor of the Sanders. But that easement really isn't sufficient for what their access needs are, and we need to be able to improve that for them. We're committed to doing that. What we've done now is we've requested a meeting with the Public Works Director so that we can sit down with him and their consultant and the Sanders if they want to attend, and make sure that if we're going to dedicate 60 feet over here, that something can be designed that will actually be usable for them. And any option is on the table, and we're committed to working with them on their access issue. That is really all that I have for you on this presentation. I'm available to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
So, okay, please. Well, thank you for that presentation. So I know in regards to me, because I'm just receiving that additional language for the ordinance, I have not had time to talk with staff or the attorney in regards to what that language looks like. So for me, I just not ready to if I have to make a recommendation, it will be to deny it because it's new information has been presented that I haven't received until just now. In addition to that, in regards to the Sanders family, has there been there's no written agreement right now where you guaranteed to give them access or vacate, just there's nothing in writing right now. It's just your insurance and your guarantee, or is there something written where you?
There's no agreement in place right now, but just an understanding that we'll work together. And the Sanders and their consultant are here today, and certainly if you'd like to speak to them, I'm sure they're willing to discuss it.
Okay, just for me, I just received this language, so I know I can't I don't feel comfortable moving forward without.
And I apologize. I did think that it would be part of the agenda packet. It has been approved by the city attorney's office a couple of weeks ago.
You guys already received
Commissioner,
you have
This is new even
for
for me.
Okay,
This is new even for me.
Okay, so our mayor hasn't even received it. So
I'm trying to find the email. This is something that was sent probably about a month ago when this was first continued, like one of the first times it was continued. This language was brought up. I'm trying to find the email and I'll re-forward it.
Okay, so
Was it showed as approved? Like it was tentative language, but was there anything that went out from us in any capacity
No,
that
the
said
discussion,
approve this?
the discussion was that this was an item they might bring forward at that meeting, and then it was continued from that meeting.
There was an email from the city attorney that, it was Andrew Hand who confirmed that he had no substantive issues with the language and that it.
You sent us an email?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. It was around that first time of the continuance.
Okay.
But at that time, it wasn't approved.
It wasn't. Okay.
Or reviewed by staff or the attorney.
No, it was reviewed by staff at that time.
At that point.
Oh, so we just haven't.
Well, I do have to echo a similar sentiment.
Yeah.
That
Okay. Yes.
Until we see it
We just
in the actual ordinance properly provided, then we should table that until that comes in front of us.
Yes. And I would also like to hear from the standards as well, if that's okay, and the engineer, because I want to kind of hear what the effect it have on them.
Yes, I was gonna ask the same.
So
If we can, if we can, just let final kind of not final,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
any additional comments from the dais, and then we'll open it to public comment from there.
Right. So I just want to say I did meet with Mr. Bobby Sanders and his wife Jessica on Wednesday, July 8th, where they kind of outlined what their concerns were. And certainly one of their biggest concern was being landlocked. And that was something that when I did meet with Mr. McGregor and the applicant on Wednesday, July 29th, you had assured me that that would not occur and that you have been in talks with the homeowners. So everything that you're presenting today kind of gives me that there is some agreement between the Sanders and the applicant, except what you just read, I can't find.
I can't. Yeah, I can't.
And I apologize for that.
I don't know where it is.
And I, I certainly believe that the attorney, read it and agreed with it, and the Sanders family agrees with it. But I think before we can actually vote on it, that we would need to have it
The
in
final
writing.
language.
Right, the final
Absolutely.
language in writing. Yeah, because when it's approved here, then it goes straight to the mayor's office, and he's actually signing off on an ordinance that doesn't have that language.
That's correct.
Mr. Mayor,
So
I did locate that email was back on July 13th.
July 13th.
Correct.
Okay, let me look for that.
And the title's Forward Follow-Up on City Process.
Okay. Let me search.
Lock myself out.
July 13th. Oh, here it is. Regarding, okay, there's the clause. I don't know, did we respond? Anybody respond as acknowledging it? Because usually I always respond acknowledging it.
I think it was probably the way it was kind of.
Well, even if
still
that's
not-
the case, it's still we should have had this in.
Yeah, we still don't have it in the
We
packet.
should have had it in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Follow-
So-
and you are correct. You sent it. It looks like it was, yeah, okay.
It was right before that first attempt, the first reading, or the first reading originally was scheduled, and then it got continued.
But the public
From
doesn't have it either. It's not in the. It's not in the pack. It's just not in the packet correctly. It's just not in the packet. It's not an updated ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any additional comments from the dais?
Well, because I was mentioned, I do echo your sentiment. I'm looking for this kind of future investment in the city, but I do want to make sure that we inject common sense to it. You can't build around a resident and actually create an enclave that they lose all access to their property. So let's be mindful of that and on moving this thing forward. So I'm going to be paying attention to that. You can't, I don't know how we got here this far without having a lot more of this conversation a long time ago. So
I agree with you, and we've committed to the Sanders to make sure we improve their existing
I want
access.
to make sure we
conditions.
protect the value of their property. Also.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Any additional questions?
No, the only just more of a comment. I agree in terms of, I want to make sure that Mr. and Mrs. Sanders' property is not locked in, that you all come to an agreement in terms of what these plans are going to look like, that you meet with Mr. Vlad and are able to set that up. In terms of how they are able, not just them, but if they're in case of an emergency, our fire department, our police are able to access their property, that we are protecting them as well. So I right now am going to decline in approving it until we know for sure we have everything in place and they are, but that everybody across the board is set and ready. And then that way we can move forward with it.
Thank you. All right, we will open it up to public comment. Anybody from the public comment wish to speak?
Yes, sir. I'm Bobby Sanders, and I'd like to say that the road that we had was for the nursery and for the Chandler family. That was my aunt and uncle's house, and I bought it from my aunt and her children. And the road, when the nursery went out of business, the road went to pieces, and a helicopter couldn't get down this road. And Jessica had to go to work every day, and there was no way for her to go down that road without the probability of getting stuck. And it caused a lot of rift with this family, which was unbelievable to me. I would never, ever believe that that could ever happen. I know when I was in the Army, I thought of all of my family with nothing but love and respect and was proud of every one of them. It's caused a lot of problem. And if Apopka would have watched after this before they put in White Delight, this neighborhood and this other neighborhood, if they would have watched out for this, then this would have never happened. And I appreciate y'all even addressing it and watching after our well-being. And I appreciate each and every one of you, including Vladimir, every one of y'all that has addressed it with me. And that's all that we want you to know. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? If not, I will close public comment. I think the sentiment here is two things. One is to have this language updated in the ordinance when it's brought back to us. And then two, I would like to see some type of agreement with the Sanders family showing we are in agreement to this. We support this project and this is what we're getting. It doesn't need to be anything superficial, but in writing that we can see that both parties are in agreement that this is where we need to be.
And for the record, the 60 feet that you see at that top northwest corner, we'd like to confirm that it can actually be designed for what it needs to be designed for. It looks pretty wide, but part of the due diligence we'd like to do to make sure that this isn't some dedication that they really can't use is to have it, somewhat engineered to show, okay, it meets the city's standards. This is a better access. Right now they have 30 feet and it doesn't work very well for any of the needs that they have for even their single family home, and certainly not for emergency access. This would make it better, but we want to make sure that it's really sufficient for what they need long term, which does take some design work. We're working on that. We're having our engineer look into it independently, and we'll meet with the Public Works Director. So for the next time we speak, I hope to have more information for you.
Excellent. Any final comments from there?
Thank you.
Appreciate you working.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for working with those.
Of course,
that are there.
of course.
So we will move to. So there is two different items here. So there's going to be one, this first ordinance, which then the next one. So we'll probably table both of those. We'll do it in separate readings though. So I will look for a motion to table ordinance number 3158.
To the next.
Do we feel we're gonna have enough time August 19th?
I feel we can have enough time. Yes, let's do August 19th.
So looking for a motion to table ordinance number 3158 to the August 19th meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Barron, second by Commissioner Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 3159.
Ordinance 3159. An ordinance of the city of Apopka, Florida, changing the zoning from RSF 1A residential single-family estate to O office for certain real properties generally located at 4410 Chandler Road and 4420 Chandler Road, owned by Richard Chandler, comprising of 5.12 acres more or less, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Dr. Stone, I don't want to make you read this whole thing. We most likely are going to be tabling this one. I do want to open up to public comment, though. Any public comment? Seeing none, we'll close it. Unless you have any final comments, Commission, I'll look for a motion to table ordinance number 3159 to the August 19th meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Anderson, second by Commissioner Ruth. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, ordinance number 3160.
Ordinance number 3160. An ordinance of the city of Apopka, Florida, amending the future land use element of the Apopka Comprehensive Plan of the city of Apopka, changing the future land use designation from commercial to industrial for property located at East Keene Road, owned by HCH Development LLC, comprising of 5.23 acres more or less, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
For, for the record, this is Johnson Planner. The applicant has requested future land use amendment of property located at the intersection of East King Road and Clark Canal Road to develop a car storage warehouse. The size of the property is 5.2 acre and it is currently vacant. Looking at the surrounding area, there's a retention pond to the east, Highway 414 to the north, and vacant land to the south, and gas station with the additional vacant land to the west. The current future land use of the property is commercial, and the requested future land use is industrial. Per the applicant, the proposed use is enclosed luxury car storage, and a storage warehouse is permitted in light industrial zoning. The properties along the corridor of East King Road and Clarkona Road have industrial and agricultural future land use. Therefore, staff find that the proposed industrial future land use is comparable with the surrounding area. The image you see is the conceptual site plan, and these are the conceptual landscape plan. On April 8th, the DRC has recommended approval, and on July 14th, the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval. The recommended motion is accept the first reading of ordinance number 3160 and hold it over for the second reading and adoption. Staff and applicant are available for any comments and questions.
Thank you, Dr. Stone. Any questions for staff or the applicant?
I did meet with the engineer. Luke, is that your title, engineer? I met with Luke Lassen on July 13th, and he presented the project. And also, I have to say this, at the legislative wrap-up, when I was sitting, the gentleman that I was sitting next to actually is the person that's building this. And he introduced himself. So I don't know if we just happened to sit together, but when he mentioned this, I said, oh, I did speak with Mr. Luke Klassen. So I actually spoke to the developer, but I initially was brought to my attention by Mr. Luke Klassen. So
and I too met with Mr. Luke as well on this property. You know, when I first moved to Apopka, you know, there was one thing I was determined was to understand the historical side of our city, right? And this area has been underserved for decades. And I think at this point, this garage, or if you will, storage unit, although the concept is great, but just not for this area. And so it's a no for me in terms of changing the future land use amendment for this area from commercial to industrial, because I think we could potentially put something there that would provide a resource to this area. especially for those residents that live just on the north side of the 414. I think it's important that we provide a resource to this underserved area. So it's a no for me in terms of approving this future land use.
Any additional comments from the commissioners?
So I just want to kind of add to that, and I understand that, but this property has been sitting there for decades. And so when they brought this product to me, Mr. Lou Klassen, the product itself is condominium. So, and it's luxury cars, it's self-contained, they will have it gated. And the way this product is just, it's going to bring a very large revenue to our city that will not require the services that we give to rooftops. And you know, we talked about, you know, what do you do with a piece of property that has been sitting for decades? And obviously, where it sits between two highways, I don't know what would you put there that can serve a community between two highways.
I mean, there's
Besides
there's
warehouses, we have
services, right?
plenty of warehouses
we
that
don't-
are lined up on the 429,
Mhm.
and they're aligned with residential areas. And I'll tell you the truth, you take the road up, it doesn't give anything to the residents, the residential homeowners. It doesn't offer them anything other than if they are employed in the warehouse, but it does not give them anything. And so this particular property was doing the same thing. And I'm looking for commercial properties to come into our city that's going to generate revenue, that's going to lift the clientele that would bring here. I mean, these are luxury cars. And I shared a story about when I was in New York and I knew a good friend that was in the business of luxury cars. And it really just, he was making over $1 million, $2 million. And but this is condominiums. It's not like people are going to come in and rent and put their car there temporarily. They are actually investing like buying a house. They're buying a condominium. And this is going to be very expensive. And I just feel it's a good product for our city because these luxury car owners are now coming into Apopka. So you know what? They want to be near their cars. I mean, tell me someone who doesn't own a luxury car loves it more than their family. So they may want to buy a home in Apopka just to be close to their car and their boats and their buses. So I think this is a very good product only because one of the issues that our residents constantly express is that when we put up rooftops, it's the services we have to provide, you know, water, uh, police, fire. This is pretty much a self-contained condominium. So I support it because I do understand the product.
I completely agree with you 100%. The concept is phenomenal. Absolutely. I just don't think it's great for that section. I think it belongs close to maybe our airport area, like our small signature airport, or somewhere where it will support those that are going to have their luxury cars in these warehouses. I just don't think it would provide a source for our residents that live in this area right now. But I agree with you in terms of the concept. The concept is great. I just don't know if it would again provide a resource for our residents in this area. So that's just my stance on it.
I have.
Please.
Okay. Question. So just to clarify, can you clarify with us the existing zoning commercial, the community commercial? Can you give us an example of something that supports right now in this current zoning?
Community commercial is basically for more like retails. restaurant.
Storefronts.
Mhm.
Yes.
I just want for context for the
Absolutely.
because people so okay restaurants and stuff. Okay, so I and this was I was thinking just different because I kind of share both of their I'm kind of split because I do feel that in this area this will be a access to it will be something and I'm really trying to just put it in words. I do like I do like the concept and I do think it will help increase the quality of that area. And if not, it's going to continue to sit. And right now, I actually think this is probably the best option for it, in my opinion, just based off of because if they're going to be investing and putting their $1 million cars in there, they're going to care a lot about the area. And I think right now, with regards to the tax roll, we need, it will help increase the tax roll. It'll bring in more revenue. I think it'll be good idea for the area. I haven't seen the desire for anyone to come in that area and put retail in that area. So I think this would be a great idea. So I actually do support the concept as well because I think it will actually add value it'll bring more charm to that area. And the goal is to make sure that we're actually adding value to the area. So I think it will actually be a great concept for the area as well.
Any additional comments at all?
Well, the only thing I can add to it is, I would be the one here with the most years in the area. That was a nursery area that on both sides of the road, my entire life, it was a nursery. On the west side of the road was a horse farm, and right beside that was a salvage yard. So I've lived here 65 years. I've never really seen anything outside of those entities there. It being a commercial base, as far as a revenue source, I like the tax base that's going to be generated and come from it. I look forward to what it could bring. I'm just giving you my historical analysis of the area, which was it's always been a nursery based. So outside of that, that's all I can add to the comment.
Thank you. Anybody from public wish to speak on this? All right. I will close public comment. Any final comments from the dais at all? All right, I'll say one final comment on my end too. I do think that, well, let me confirm. It's gated to the internal streets, sidewalks, street lights. Those are all going to be maintained by the owners, correct?
I'll defer that question to the applicant.
Okay, thank you. Please state your name for the record.
For the record, Mike Rankin, Land Planning Group. Mayor, commissioners, staff, and residents, thank you for the opportunity. You guys have a tough job. I've served in cities and counties for some 30 years, so I get what you go through. Don't always appreciate the outcome, but I respect the outcome, so thank you. And I also want to say you guys have an incredible planning staff. We really appreciate working with them. Again, with me tonight is Luke Klassen, the engineer for the project. Commissioner Ruth made a comment earlier that he wanted to see creative ideas come to the community. Well, I think we've got one for you. This is very similar to developments that have occurred in other areas, Tampa, outside of the state of Florida, where you've got this type of concept dropping in affluent areas. And you think of the draw that Apopka would have in this area well beyond its city limits for folks that would want to bring their vehicles here, show them off, run up the street on Main Street, get something neat, come back, leave a couple $100 at one of the gas stations while they're here. So I see the economic impact that has. June, can you bring up or do I have control of it? Just the concept. Thank you. No, let's go to that. And you can see we really wanted to dial in on the detail of the facade and the landscaping. The one to the left up there that is not one of the staff's cars driving by there, that cord, 38 cord there. It's just a concept car. But, we really wanted to dial in on how this thing's going to look from the road, knowing this location would be a real challenge with its infrastructure and as close to the ingress and egress into this property to have a traditional retail center there. It would just be a tough fit. So this is more of a passive setting. And if you look at as the crow flies to the east northeast, we're 683 feet away from the nearest residence. To the south, we are about 500 feet. And then to the south southwest, we're about 430 feet as the crow flies from the closest point of this property to the closest point of those residential properties. So you can see we're well away from a residential community, but we're tied well with the infrastructure that's currently there. So a little over 80,000 square feet, 48 units where these folks will be able to, as I mentioned in planning and zoning, I've got this problem. I've got 5 Lamborghinis. I don't know where to put them. So this is be a great location. I don't have 5 Lamborghinis, by the way, but the gentleman that's building this has quite the car collection.
He does. He showed me photos.
Yeah, he's very proud of that. So we ask your consideration to take staff's recommendations. We're anxious to move forward. I want to assure you that we'll meet all the policies and procedures of the city as far as landscaping, setbacks, buffers, ingress, egress, etc. And I'll yield my time and be able to answer any questions you may have. But thank you for your time.
Thank you for that. Just to confirm, your internal streets will be the community's responsibility. So the streets, the sidewalks, the street lights are all going to be the community's responsibility, not the city's, correct?
That is correct. And it will be dark skies as well.
Okay. Excellent. We appreciate it. Any additional questions at all from the commission?
I just think it's going to be just a great look for that area. And I appreciate you guys for actually putting a lot of time into the design. I think it's going to be really cool for that area.
Well, we give a lot of that credit to Luke and the architect on the project, but more to the owner who crazy idea to build this. So
it's going to look nice.
All right. Well, I will look for a motion to approve ordinance number 3160 at first reading and hold over for a second reading and adoption.
So
Moved by Vice Mayor.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Anderson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Me. Nay.
Vote passes 4-1 with Commissioner Barron in opposition. Next up, ordinance number 3161.
Ordinance number 3161, an ordinance of the city of Apopka, Florida, changing the zoning from CC, community commercial, to IL, light industrial, for certain real property generally located at East Keene Road, owned by HCH Development LLC, comprising 5.23 acres more or less, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Dr. Sun.
The applicant has requested a rezoning of the same property. The size of the property is 5.2 acres. The current zoning of the property is CC Community Commercial, and the requested zoning is IL Light Industrial. Properties along the corridor of East King Road and Clackawanna Road has a light industrial and agricultural zoning. On April 8th, DRC has recommended approval, and on July 14th, Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval. The recommended motion is to accept the first reading of ordinance number 3161 and hold it over for second reading and adoption. Staff and applicant are available.
Thank you, sir. Any additional questions, comments? I will open up to the public. Anybody wish to speak on this one? If not, I will close public comment. I do want to disclose, because it's quasi-judicial, was forced to meet with Mr. Klassen, so I need to disclose that. Any other final comments then?
Other than I've met with Mr. Lou Klassen, but I actually
I
met
do.
informally with the person who's actually developing
sure.
this. What's his name? And yes, he gave me his card.
Awesome.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, I will look for a motion to approve ordinance number 3161 at first reading and hold over for second reading and adoption.
So moved again.
Moved by Vice Mayor,
Second.
second by Commissioner Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, 4-1.
That passes 4-1 with Commissioner Barron in opposition.
Thank you. See you in a couple weeks.
Thank you, sir. Next up, resolution number 2026-31.
Resolution 2026-31. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Apopka, Florida, adopting administrative fine settlement guidelines for code enforcement liens, establishing minimum settlement amounts for residential and commercial properties, providing eligibility requirements, authorizing the process of lien settlement requests, providing for satisfaction or release of liens, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Mr. Hanson, I just want to apologize because I should have put this at the top. So I apologize for that. Should have made you wait through development. So
it's okay.
I'll fix that moving forward. So please, Mr. Hanson.
It's okay. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Yeah, this is the new settlement amounts that I've worked up. 5% for residential, or the value of the property, whichever is less, and 10% on commercial value of the property, or which is ever a lesser value. Going to do the $500 per day, and they will have 90 days to pay the settlement once you guys approve it.
Understood. Thank you for that. Thank you for taking the time to clarify this too. I know it was concerned, and so I appreciate that. Anybody from the dais have any additional questions?
So once they go through court enforcement and they're given the fine, is there a timeline for them to either come to compliance or pay? Because in the consent agenda, the first one, I mean, it's before this. I mean, they were 1,032 days.
Oh, there's some probably even more than that. Yeah, there's some that are really old.
And I mean, I had a lot of questions with that one.
Yeah.
And I mean, they purchased the property from HUD for $90,000, but it took them 4 years to come into compliance, and their fines were $531,000 for 1,062 days of not. I mean, is there any way to tighten that up?
I don't know, because I mean, there's some that I'm telling you, there's some that are probably 10, 15 years old. I don't think we can force them into.
When you got to, if I may jump in and correct me here, but there's some that are for homesteaded properties, we can't do anything. Basically, that just runs.
Well, what was interesting about this one was that they became homestead this year. So before this, they were not homestead. So if they're not homestead, maybe that's the question.
If I remember correctly, it can go up to 20 years before anything. Jason and I had that talk about this, and not this for non-homesteaded properties. It could just go. There's just, I don't know if Cliff, is there anything we could?
Let me say, so we can create a policy as a city to state after X amount of time, and it's whatever we decide, we can start foreclosure proceedings.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely the case.
Okay. So I think that answers your question, is that we can create that timeline of if it's a non-homesteaded property at X date, we can kind of add some teeth to what we're doing.
That would make sense, because I mean, when I asked all the questions, then at the end I said, when was it homestead? They just did it. But they did it after they came into compliance, and I believe they agreed to pay a 10,000 or a fine of up to $10,150.
Right.
But for almost 4 years, they just did not come into compliance. But they were not homestead.
Right.
And we allowed it to go for so long.
We'll have to come up with, like what the mayor said, have to come up with something and put
Would
that.
you come up with
something in a timeline. Sure.
Property, because then that would also include commercial.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It'll include both.
I would like to see a policy like that. Only because when you have these blighted properties and commercial buildings, they're an eyesore to the homeowners surrounding it, other businesses. It's a deterrent.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
so I'd like to see that. So
I'll come up with some. I'll get something together. Sure.
put something together at a future commission meeting.
In
Sure.
addition to that, I just want to make sure too, because some, financial reasons could be it could be the reason why they're not able to bring it up to code. So I also want to make sure that there's a process where we're able to give them time where it's not accumulated. Because if they have a financial hardship and we're finding $500 a day, we'll still create a more of a financial hardship. So
Sure.
is there a meeting where we'd be like, okay, you come in, you explain that, I need this amount of time in order to, because depending
Not
on what
in
it
the
is, it
past,
can cost
but
thousands of dollars.
we could look at that moving forward too.
Yeah.
I know because it adds up quickly.
That's
I mean,
part of the special magistrate process. So
Correct.
having gone to many, if not a large amount of them,
Right.
Yeah.
that what they do is somebody will come up, the magistrate sits right here, and basically it's a very delicate negotiation, not an aggressive one by any means. The magistrate can't, hey, I'm going to offer you this, but they can say, do you want 120 more days? Do you want 6 months? Depending on the complexity of it, and kind of has that conversation with the homeowner or landowner from there, from my experience. Not saying it's every single time, but that's usually how that goes, is that's where that time is built in, where fines will not start until after 20 days, 50 days, 160 days, whatever the number is that the magistrate and the resident decide on. That's what they move forward with and gives them that time without any fines. And then that fine starts after that timeline that was agreed to.
Right.
But you mustn't get in hardship. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I'm definitely familiar with it, but still, you can come up with something and life can happen to anybody. You can get sick.
Right.
I just want to make sure that we're still, these are people homes that they invested
Sure.
in. So we'll make sure that we're not creating a strict statute. There's a reason why the statute gives you all these years before
Exactly.
something happens. So I
Sure.
just want to make sure that we are still, that we're not.
We'll work with
Oh,
them.
no.
Compliance is the goal.
Compliance is the goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Compliance is the goal. Not,
Yeah.
Not the money,
creating
not the
money.
property. Compliance.
I just want to make sure we're trying to get that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll work with them.
Okay.
Okay.
Any additional comments, questions?
I have a comment, and basically it was to our city administrator Radley. Yesterday we had a pretty lengthy discussion about this, and one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we were cognizant of is before the 5 and 10, I want to know what our cost is, and obviously to track something that long, there's a cost to that. And I want to make sure that we're at least starting with the baseline of knowing what our exposure is, and then we can have a better discussion of the 5 and 10. But I want to make sure we capture our additional cost. And I know it's not in here, and I know it was kind of sudden yesterday, but I just want to, for the record, I just want to make sure everybody understands that at a higher level, there's discussions going on, and I just want to make sure that those thoughts are being shared with the dice.
Yeah.
If you could look at section 2, number 4, I think this is what you're talking about.
Section 2.
Number 4.
Oh, all city incurred hard costs, including recording costs, title search costs, abatement costs, administrative costs. Okay.
So, Commissioner, Mayor, to ensure that we're meeting that, that's something we can provide with the settlement agreement as it comes forward to verify, so you all can verify that the city's costs are incorporated in that. That just requires some additional tracking on staff point.
Yeah,
but
I just wanted to make sure that staff was being
Sure.
Transparent with the dice. So as we know what our exposure is, before we start moving any further and assessing percentages, make sure we're capturing our costs.
Right.
Recovering, yeah. No, great
Yeah.
point.
Sure.
Any additional comments?
Thank you. That was an oversight on my part.
I'll open up to the public for any comment here.
Rod Olson, and I had trouble pulling this up to be able to look at the whole thing. So the first thing is a question that we can kill it from there. But this is the settlement guidelines. This is how much we're going to fine and steps to do it. Does it also include how it's resolved? What I'm getting at is, I was Rock Springs Ridge. We had $2,250,000 in fines. It did not come before the dice. It was settled by someone, who knows, within the code enforcement department without review. And it was my understanding from one of our former commissioners, that's the first time that the commission didn't sign off or approve that element. There ought to be thresholds. Staff should have the responsibility of up to certain levels, resolving it, reducing a fine based upon XYZ criteria, but there should be a threshold that says it comes before you. Settling 1,320 homes worth of crap for a dozen years for $250,000 on a $2.5 million, the city could use that money. Am I wrong? We need to have, if that doesn't have those parameters, I'll be happy to work with anyone trying to establish them. I've never done it before, but I know when working with my systems and we had various fines and so forth when operations I'm responsible for, we had thresholds. Staff member A has up to X, then it goes to the supervisor, then it goes eventually where it goes. So it, you know, you don't want to tie the system up on the one hand, the other hand, $2 million pitched, not good.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. There is a clause in here that says, unless otherwise approved by the city commission, eligible code enforcement liens may be settled according to the following minimum guidelines, which references that 5 and 10% for residential properties versus commercial, mixed use, industrial,
And that's section 3.
non-residential.
Yeah, basically, you guys, even if it comes, say it was 10,000, that they were, if you guys wanted to say, no, we want 20,000. It's whatever you guys decide,
So they're
higher
going
or
to
lower.
continue to come. To your point, that was the only one, from my understanding, in the history of the city that hasn't come to us.
Right.
From what I found out about that. So
And there's no timeline with that one either.
that's a wild agreement.
Yeah,
that one is
has
wild.
no
So,
timeline.
yeah, so we're doing these to make sure that doesn't happen again.
That's right.
So, any additional public comment here?
To pay their
I will close public comment then. Any final comments from the dais? All right, so I will look for a motion to approve resolution number 2026-31. Moved by Commissioner Ruth. Second by Commissioner Barron. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Williams, anything for us?
Just a quick update on the estimated billing for the month end of July. We've dropped another percentage point down to 4%, which leaves a remaining 1,244 accounts on estimated reads. So we're continuing to make progress. Again, big shout out to our utility operations team and utility billing team to continue knocking away at that. Excuse me, that number, because as we get further down this list, they are the more challenging meters that need to be addressed. So
what was that number again?
1,244 accounts.
They really have done an incredible job, and it's really impressive to see the efforts they've put in. It's a lot, and I know that was kind of, as they've had to move around on some different tasks, they've really done well and really aggressively gotten those estimated reads down. So really proud of them, really impressed by them and their efforts, and definitely not the easiest job ever. And to your point, the next ones up are some, I told them, I'm like, I hope my meter never goes out because I know where it's at and I know there's roots around it. And I'm like, I hope that this one just works forever. So thank you for that. Anything else?
That's it.
Awesome. Attorney Shepard.
Just briefly, I'm sure you all are now aware that at least for now, the referendum that we were all worried about in November is off the ballot. It can be put back on supposedly if the Attorney General or the legislature rewrites the law and it gets past the judge. But we're up against the time deadline for the balloting. So that's why it may not make it. It just depends on what they want to do. And I've heard various things. I don't know what to believe. But for now, it's off the ballot. Keep watching for the next 10 days and see what happens.
Thank you, sir. Commission reports. Vice Mayor.
Two things. And I know that we have been talking about either an in-house attorney will continue the services with the office, the city attorney's office. He did provide an opportunity to sit down with each of us, one of us, to kind of show us the difference. So that's still, I know, open. I guess today you don't have time. It's almost 5 o'clock. Can we make an?
Yeah,
What's
that's
easier for
fine.
you?
And I did, I've already had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Ruth, and I appreciate that opportunity. I'm happy to speak to any of you. As I said, it is uncharged time because obviously, notwithstanding that I'm retiring, I'm not an uninterested party. So I wanted to make sure, but yeah, I would like to at least give you the benefit of my thinking. You all know you've had some of you know, that you've had 2 prior episodes with in-house attorneys, and the issue is simply trying to make sure you set yourself up for success and not failure. And so if you're going in-house, if you do it on one person, it's not going to work. I'm just saying. You're going to need more because it's a bigger job. You're the second largest city in Orange County. One lawyer. If it was me, I couldn't do it. I'm just telling you.
Okay. Then the other, I just kind of want to extend again our condolences on behalf of the city, but also personally for the former chief administrator that was here for 25 years, Jack Douglas, his wife, and
Ms. Cher.
Sure.
Yeah.
and my good friend Cher passed away on Monday. So I didn't think I would cry. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Really
Just-
dragging down the
Yeah,
meeting.
it's okay.
I know,
I'm
I
kidding.
am, I
Completely
am.
kidding.
It's okay.
Just want to share the condolences, and I want you to know that Jack and Cher have been very much part of our community for decades, and he served our city with professionalism, integrity. He was not just the city administrator; he was the finance person, and she worked decades for Apopka High School, and just wanted to extend my condolences. And if Jack is listening, let him know that we love Cher and we loved him. And if he needs anything from the city for us to help support him during this time, that we are available to him.
Absolutely.
And I'm so sorry.
You need some tissue?
That's it.
Thank you. Should have put you last.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Just
oh,
kidding, I'm just
this is
kidding.
heavy.
Completely
At
kidding.
least you made me laugh. You should have
It's
put
my
me last.
defense mechanism. I have to use humor for
I know.
things.
I know.
Commissioner Anderson.
There you go. I see
Thank
something
you.
for you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Ooh,
you.
all right, that was heavy to come behind. Okay. I also would like to extend my condolences to the Douglas family as well. I will definitely be praying for the family, for all their strength and everybody in the Apopka community that the effect this is having on the community. So, and also to you. I know that was a, close friend of yours. So
Yes.
definitely I'll be praying for you as well. So moving on to all right, from that. So 2 things. I know I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the budgeting process about the $150,000 that currently is earmarked. Can you kind of go, where is that now? Do we have to re-put it back in the budget? Because I want to make sure that we're able to use that $150,000 for the homeless shelter.
There's a line.
There's yeah, I just want to, because someone asked, I'm just,
That's Duke money.
Duke money.
Yes, ma'am. It is Duke money.
That Duke money's been
Okay.
Yeah,
around for, I don't know,
it's
4
been
years?
earmarked for a while.
Okay.
That is not in the budget, but it is in the reserves.
So I would ask that it be put into the budget so
Mhm.
that we can actually utilize it. Because I know with the CRA, even though we're pushing the meeting back, that there were some talks of, about purchasing that property. I just want to make sure that we have everything kind of lined up and kind of ready to go.
Okay.
So I'm asking that be put into do I have the motion for it, or is it going to be put in the budget?
No,
What's
it'll
the
be
process?
as we go through the budget process,
Okay.
all the edits, you can throw everything in there,
Okay.
and then we can discuss it from there and have feedback.
Because it is earmarked for homeless. That's what it's used for.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's it's exclusively only able to be used for
Used
that.
for that.
Well, that's how it was earmarked by a previous council commission.
Okay.
Because we do have other funds that were earmarked, like the birding park and some work at the amphitheater.
Mhm.
That is it's in the budget because they were earmarked for those projects. If you don't want to proceed with those projects, you have to come back and
And those
change.
projects, we definitely need to review all of them. Anything that's earmarked, let's review, make sure we're happy with it and still want to continue with it, but also tie it to a plan. If we're going to do it, here's the timeline, here's the project, which is why I started to initiate the project trackers for each department. If we're going to do it, let's put a timeline to it and
Makes
get
sense.
some threshold and metrics in place for success. So,
And can we get a list of the different projects that are currently, the money that's currently earmarked? Because I know I could be in conversations that, we have something earmarked, so we kind of know. And I think that'll kind of assist us as well with the budgeting process as well.
I will.
Perfect. Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate that. Okay. The second thing is, and maybe this is a question to the attorney, not really sure, but I know that we spoke just like mamas. is there any type of insurance that is in place if the any of the city employees or any type of negligence where we're able to, so they don't have to seek, to go through the legal process, where we can say, okay, we messed up, we can go through our insurance company and kind of,
Well,
I know that's a loaded question.
these are actually more complicated than you might have recognized. First of all, I don't know what insurance you have. That's not a question that
Mhm.
I can answer. That would be risk management that might be able to answer it.
Okay.
But in terms of how the insurance company deals with things, even when they're your fault, that's something that we learned from the firefighter episode that we don't control, because I'm certain, although without pointing out whom, there were people on the die that would have supported payments to his family, but our insurance carrier defended us and won, and there was no payments because there was no legal liability. So that real question is, when we think we have liability, is that enough for the insurance company that we may have to pay? And the answer is no. We have to have legal liability, and we have protections as a government called sovereign immunity that kick in for many things. And most planning functions that we're engaged in, like the ones you're talking about, we would cover it. For example, let's suppose this was a case where you had someone, if I understand the facts, uh, put a stop work order on something that they didn't have a right to put a stop work order on. I'm just assuming that those are the facts for the sake of discussion. But let's suppose the case had been where a building inspector had gone out and said, this thing passes, and then the building collapses. Or it turns out that I literally had this case, no joke, where it was a plan that said it was supposed to be block construction, and it was built with frame construction. The building people know what I'm talking about. And even though the plan said block and it was built frame, the inspector passed it and then got sued, but we have no liability. So, as weird as it seems, that's what sovereign immunity means. For the stuff that government does most of the time, we don't have immunity for making mistakes. I mean, we have immunity for making mistakes. So we have insurance that will pay for the cost of our defense and so forth. But to the extent we're covered by sovereign immunity, what they're going to do, as they did in the other case, is assert that defense and probably win.
One small correction. I'm fairly certain the Duran family dropped their lawsuit.
That was after it was dismissed. Trust me, I know that one well. It was dismissed, and they just decided not to refile.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess the remaining question is it possible that, because you haven't been, I guess, brought up to speed with the other attorney to
Correct.
get with the risk management to see if the insurance company, because from my understanding, just hearing things, obviously there's been a financial hardship on, from my understanding, she blew her life savings to open up this business. And there was a months and months where the business could not open up. And I just think we need to do all we can as a city to make sure that we explore every
Sure.
possible remedy.
You have a different situation about whether or not,
Mhm.
again, and of course there's some complications here too. But if you as a city decide this is something that we think needs to be done, and we can argue that it serves a public purpose or something like that, we might be able to do what would otherwise be called a volunteer payment. Anytime you spend government money, it has to accomplish a governmental purpose or a public purpose. And so that's the difficulty, but we probably could work our way through that. But that's a different question than saying to the insurance company, hey, we think that this was a bad thing and you ought to pay. They're not gonna, because if we have a defense, there's no reason for them to. And so the difference here is, and this is the part, because I'm not brought up to speed, there is a different cause of action. I don't know what's been asserted, but if you are asserting that you have color of law to do something and you don't, so you act as if you do, you act like you're a cop and you're not a cop, or you act like you have the power to put on, maybe in this case, a stop work order that you didn't have. There may be liability that goes outside of sovereign immunity for that. But I don't know that, and I don't want to tell you that's certain, because that's why you have the insurance defense firm. So you're not immune from all activity where government workers make a mistake, but for most you are.
Okay. So, and this is loaded. maybe I need to get with, I guess I'm trying to figure out what is a way where we can actually, because from my understanding, it's possible that it's still costing this business owner a lot of money to the point where they're almost about to go out of business. And I think that we time is not on her side. So I think that if we could come up with something where we're able to kind of meet with her and figure out what that looks like, and then come back to the council to see if there's something that we can kind of, you know, agree on.
I'm in agreement with your decision making on that, but again, that's why being a lawyer stinks, because I always have to say the bad part. But the bad part is you also have to remember that as soon as you start saying, this just doesn't seem right, you're going to have a lot of people more standing up telling you what's not right and why you ought to be helping them also. And I can think of a few things that have come through these chambers in the last year that, without mentioning the people who would be lining up and say, wait a minute, when I came here and said, this is what y'all did to me, you didn't do anything.
But our investigation actually, maybe we actually did do it.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's a little different. Yeah, it's different, a lot different than that. Okay, so I guess the next course of action is, I guess, the pleasure of the council. What do you guys
I would recommend, because I haven't been updated on this
You
either,
either?
what may be beneficial is to contact our attorney that's running with that, have individual conversations, and then kind of see what we need to do. If there's a shade meeting of sorts that maybe needs to happen or can't
If it's
happen.
pending litigation, you can have a shade meeting, yes,
We can,
but it has to be pending. And if that's there, if she's already sued,
It's pending.
then you have an opportunity.
So maybe that's the opportunity. Have individual conversations, ask the questions, get a comfort level, and then we can schedule a shade meeting to figure that out from there. I think
perfect.
I think that's the most appropriate way to do it without getting us into any trouble either.
Okay, I like that. Okay, perfect. Thanks for that. All right, so we'll do a shade meeting. Okay. The next thing, talk about homeless shelter, and the next thing is the resolution. I think it was 2025-19 in regards to the public comment. So there's several things in the resolution that I think that I do think we need to bring back. Two things in particular that I would want to make a motion for. Just one motion or maybe two motions for it is about the 30-minute. In that resolution, it talks about 30 minutes that is dedicated for public comment. I want to remove that 30-minute because depending on what the topic is, or depending on the community and kind of what's going on at the time, I don't want to limit that. In addition to that, what we talked about is the 3 minute to 4 minutes changing that. So I want to go ahead and make a motion now to remove the 30-minute public comment cap. Thank you for that. And to no limit, and also to change from 3 minute to 4 minute time for public comment.
Motion to
remove
adjust policy 2025-19 to remove the language about the cap and to increase public comment from 3 minutes to 4 minutes per person.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yes.
Moved.
Thank you.
3 minutes, 3 minutes to 4 minutes, and removing the cap. I get that. But to limit the person who comes up for 4 minutes that one time, because what happens is, when I was at planning and zoning, when I was at planning and zoning, they only gave them 2 minutes, and that was Orange County. But you can't have the same person keep coming. We have someone that he came up, he had his time, then he went back to the back of the line to come back up to get 2 more minutes.
Oh, that's different. So this is just my motion, but then you could do your own motion to limit but my
Oh.
motion, I just want a motion for that. But you can do your motion to add for that, to limit the time they can come to the podium.
It's just that, that adjusting the ordinance that he has.
Well, I just want to do, you can do your motion separately if you want a motion for that.
So we do have a
That's my
motion.
Yeah, I
So
just have
I'll-
my motion. Thank you.
I'm absolutely acknowledging the motion.
Thank you.
I just need a second for it.
Technically, that was my first idea, but thank you, Commissioner Anderson. I appreciate it, but I'll second it as well.
All right,
So-
seconded by Commissioner Anderson. Excuse me, Root.
Me.
This is why we need 2-hour meetings,
Barron.
people. Barron, thank you. Is there any final discussion on that? I do want to open it up to public comment too for here to give any kind of preliminary feedback for this. All right, so Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I think we've been trying to massage this, so I don't know if I want to approve that right now. I want it to come back with everything.
You can say no.
That's my goal as well, is to bring it back. So I'm going to be a no vote as well, to bring it back to really
Right.
dissect this.
Yeah, I don't want to piecemeal it.
Because this was something I advocated strongly for when I was a commissioner.
Right.
I had advocated against the no limits, advocated against reducing to 3 minutes, and so I want to bring this back and do it properly now.
Well, I
if
don't
everybody's
think.
willing to look at it.
Well, I just want to just say this, and I know we have a motion on tables, but we're discussing a bit of a motion, but that's
No,
another
we
story.
took the vote.
But yeah, we already took the vote.
Commissioner Ruth, where did you stand on that?
I'm gonna stick with you, Diane. I think we need to work on it.
All right, so the motion did not pass. It was 3-2 with Commissioner uh, Ruth, Mayor Nesta, and Vice Mayor in opposition.
Well, initially, Mayor, you actually seconded, but
Yeah, it was seconded.
but you seconded initially. You agreed to it actually initially.
I didn't second it.
Initially, you did, but it's okay. You started the motion, agreed to it, but it's fine. We'll
You
bring it
don't-
back.
I don't remember.
No, it's okay. We'll bring it back.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anything else? Commissioner Barry.
Well, I was going to make the motion to change the city policy to bringing it back to the comments from 4 minutes, from 3 minutes to 4 minutes, but Commissioner Anderson took care of that. And so I guess really the only thing I have was, this past weekend, Vice Mayor and I had the opportunity to go to the Reimagine Communities Back to School event. And so it was great to see all those wonderful families and smiling faces. I too send my condolences to the Douglas and Hearst family. I was just sharing with Commissioner Ruth just before our meeting today. My last time seeing Miss Douglas was Thursday during our special meeting. She came here and so I extend my sincere condolences to the family. I didn't get an opportunity to know Ms. Cher too much, but I did get to meet her during the election, and it was just an honor and a pleasure to know who she is and get to meet her family. And I do know her son-in-law. We were both grandparents together, so that was fun. But I send my condolences to the family. And so I don't have anything else. I just look forward to our opportunity to go to the Florida League of Cities next week. It'll be my first time attending, so I look forward to that. And Commissioner Ruth, I know you're going to do a phenomenal job representing us. You're welcome. You're welcome for the nomination. And with that, I don't have anything else.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Ruth.
Well, I'd like to echo everybody's condolences to the Douglases. She's been a sister to me. I'm gonna stop there because
Yep. You like to make.
I gotta get back to business or I won't even be able to finish. I had a Mr. Cruz call me, a resident at 2071 Piedmont Park Boulevard, Apopka, concerned about his sidewalks and edges. Apparently he's spoken to all the staff members and several of the people on the dais. And he said that this has been going on well over a year. In all fairness, I don't know the individual, but being elected to speak for the public, I appreciated his concerns and bringing it to my attention. I would just like to hear a comment in the future if there was any purpose for the phone call that I got. But I'm sure our staff members will. I can give you the contact information that he gave me. I hope that we can find some common ground and take notice of his concern.
If you can coordinate that with Mr. Williams,
I will.
We'll make sure that it gets taken care
That
of.
happened today, so I'm just bringing it to
Absolutely.
everybody's staff's attention. Outside of that, I'm looking forward to the future. I know that 100-day plan of yours is getting closer to where you see us going, and wait anxiously to jump on board and start driving the city in that direction. So with that said,
I appreciate that. All right, we'll move on to the mayor's report then. I do want to express, obviously, condolences to the Douglas family that was over at their house Monday, and super impactful to the city, and it's just loss is tough. So thank you to that family for their impact on this community and the funeral or the celebration of life.
3 to 5 on Friday at the Vietnam.
Okay, thank you for that. I do want to go through a couple things here. I want to welcome Mr. Montiero. He starts on the 10th of next week. He already has so many plans that he is going to be initiating day one between meeting with department heads and getting what they need, meeting with you guys as well, and then just getting information out there. I mean, it's truly about communicating effectively. And he's going to start obviously meeting with who will be underneath him now. So super excited about that. It's going to be a true change for our city. And I know I'm taking a lot of heat for that, and I'm okay with that because we need to head in a certain direction. And just like anybody in the city, and I've had this discussion a few times, regardless of our salaries, any staff member from making $1 to $1 million, as long as they're producing more value for the residents than they're costing, it is a win for us. And I will never stop advocating for that. It's ran like a business. You need to run this like a business. If you want less, you pay less. If you want more, you pay more. So I'm going to continue to advocate for that. I'm going to continue to advocate for staffing. We absolutely need that as we navigate into these kind of changing times. Our city is changing. Our economic climate's changing. Our political climate is changing. And I'm going to continue to advocate that we have staffing there. We do have a transportation engineer that we're trying to hire as well, and going through some things that pay bands may not be where they need to be right now. So we really need to update that to be able to provide and get in the quality talent that we truly need. And part of a communications director and full department, not only to the city, but to the residents, he's going to be, his department's going to be advocating and showcasing schools and churches and nonprofits and all of our parks and all of our research and our businesses. So there's so much that comes into that. And that's what leads me to my next topic of, I hear everyone, obviously I see social media and how kind everybody is with the water letter that went out, the utility rate letter. And I wanted to address it very directly just because I want to just correct some narrative on it and just show that there is a need for a communications director in this city. We are growing massively. Many people are wearing many hats right now. And this letter doesn't truly tell the whole story. And that's my issue with it. The dates incorrect on it and things of that nature. So I want to make sure moving forward that all of our communications out to the residents can be trusted, can be verified, and that it has one cohesive message. One thing that I want to acknowledge in here too, moving forward with any of our rate increases or proposed rate increases, is when was it voted on? How was it voted on? Because I have two commissioners here that didn't have any part of that vote in any capacity or even a say in it. So I want to make sure that that's told to the public that that was a previous commission that I myself was on as well, that
It was in
that was
2025.
correct. So I just want to make sure that as we start to send out letters, that the narrative is fixed properly, and it just shows. And I hear the residents in their frustration, but I want to make sure it's out there that the vote was done last year. Number one, and number two, that the current commissioners, that the newest ones, were not part of that vote either, and that this just shows, and it really points to needing more team members to make sure that as we wear our multiple hats, we're not letting anything fall through the cracks. So I do hear the residents, we see it, and we are making adjustments as we navigate. And one final thing, I just want to make sure it's seen on the agenda itself, the informational items, the budget to your actual 9 months. Those are information items that used to be approved, but it's not required to be approved. And it's confirming historical stuff that we didn't have any say in at that time. So I just want to make sure it's pointed out, it's there. And if there's any questions on it, feel free to reach out to finance, Mr. Williams, and we will keep some momentum moving forward and keep representing the residents. With that, we're adjourned.
Thank you.